If you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure about your next move, this video is for you. Most people, they don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they never build the clarity, the discipline, and momentum in the right order. So in this video, you are going to learn how to break your fear, how to stop procrastinating, and take action even when your motivation is gone. You will understand how your brain actually works and how to rewire it when you feel lost or distracted. If you watch this all the way through, you will leave not just inspired, but you will think and act differently. If you've been here before, drop a hashtag Believe in the comments below so I can feature you here in a future video. And if you're new, welcome to Believe Nation, the only channel that helps you believe in yourself daily, one video at a time. Believe. Do you want to know the secret to figuring out exactly what you want to do with your life? It's not a magic test. It's not a lightning bolt moment. It's something you discover. And if you don't figure this out, you might wake up one day filled with regret, living a life that wasn't really yours. Jim Carrey's father could have been a great comedian, but he took the safe route and became an accountant. When Jim was 12, his dad lost that safe job. Jim learned the hard truth watching his father. You can fail at what you don't want, so you might as well take a chance doing what you love. Jim chased comedy with everything he had, and it paid off in ways the safer path never could. How many times have you done the same? Settled for safe because you didn't believe doing what you love was possible. You might be thinking, well, that's great, but I have no idea what I love. What if I just don't have a passion? The truth is you do. It's just buried under fear, doubt, and everyone else's expectations. Not knowing right now isn't a life sentence. It's the starting point of an amazing journey, if you're willing to start. So let's break it down. And this question actually comes from one of our subscribers, user DC369, that asked, how can we know what we really want to do in the future? And if you ever wondered the same thing, keep watching. The first thing you need to do is silence the noise of other people's expectations. Maybe your parents think you should be a lawyer. Your friends all went into tech. Society tells you what success looks like. It's loud, isn't it? It's like static on a radio. You can't hear your song because of everyone else's music. One hospice nurse who cared for the dying noticed something profound. The number one regret people had was not living a life true to themselves, but living according to others' expectations. Rewind and hear that again. The most common regret at the end of their life was ignoring their own dreams. Do you want that to be your regret? So ask yourself, whose life are you living? If all those outside voices went silent for a minute, what would you choose? What secret dream or interest do you push aside because you're worried what others would think? This is your future. You're the one who has to live it. The people giving you advice or pressure, they won't deal with the consequences. You will. So don't let their voices become a virus in your mind, quietly killing your passion. You gotta cut the cord, tune them out, because you can never find your path if you're busy walking someone else's. Think of it like wearing someone else's shoes. They might be the right size for you, but they still give you blisters. You need to walk in shoes that fit you. So here's a quick exercise. Take out a journal and write down what you would do if nobody would judge you or be disappointed. If you had all the support in the world, what path would you take? Be honest, this is for your eyes only. Get real about what you want, no matter how crazy or impractical it might sound. Got it? Good. Hold on to that because it's the first clue to what you really want. Now, maybe you say, okay, I have ideas, but I'm still not 100% sure which one is the one. And what if I choose wrong? Which brings us to the next part. You have to get out there and try things. You cannot think your way into knowing your passion. You act your way into it. Nobody ever discovered their dream life by sitting on the couch pondering. Clarity comes from engagement, not just thought. Maybe you're afraid of choosing the wrong thing, but here's a reality check. Choosing nothing is the only guaranteed wrong choice. When you choose nothing, nothing changes. When you try something, you either win or you learn, but both are progress. We live in a world with endless options, and that can be paralyzing. There's a famous jam study. In a grocery store, researchers set up a display of 24 different jams. Tons of people stopped by to look, but only 3% actually bought a jar of jam. They cut it down to 6 flavors, fewer choices, and 30% of shoppers bought jam. Crazy, right? Too many options made people freeze. Life can feel the same way. With so many paths, you end up choosing none. Don't let that be you. Sometimes you just have to pick a flavor and taste it. So pick one of those interests or ideas that you wrote down and do something with it. Today, this week, soon. Always curious about coding? Sign up for a beginner's class now. Have a business idea scribbled in a notebook? Start researching or build a tiny prototype now. Interested in design or cooking, podcasting? Setting up a YouTube channel?
Find a way to dip your toes in the water now, volunteer, shadow someone, do a side project. Here's why this is so powerful. Science says passion isn't something you find in a fortune cookie, it's something you grow. Research has found that passions often begin with a little spark of curiosity. So maybe you watch a cool documentary or you try a new hobby and you think, that's kind of interesting. If you feed that spark, you read about it, you practice it, you immerse yourself, it starts to glow. Through repeated engagement and positive experiences, that interest builds. And if you keep going, that spark can grow into a flame. A passion is born. Not in a day, not by thinking about it, but by doing. Author Mark Manson has a great way to put it. Passion is the result of action, not the cause of it. You don't wake up one day and magically know what you're passionate about. You figure it out by trying things. None of us know how we feel about an activity until we start doing the activity. It's a trial by fire. In other words, you won't know if you love filming until you pick up a camera and you make a short film. You won't know if entrepreneurship is for you until you start a little business or side hustle. Thinking about it is not the same as doing it. Remember when you were a kid? You didn't sit around analyzing what game to play or how to have fun. You just ran out and played. You tried the slide, the swings, the monkey bars, just because it looked fun. That is the mindset you need now. Experiment, play, give yourself permission to explore without a perfect guarantee of success. And don't worry if your first try isn't the thing. Most people don't marry the first person they ever date, right? You meet different people to learn who's a good match. Likewise, you might have to try a few jobs, majors, or projects to learn what actually makes you come alive. Each attempt gives you feedback. I like this part, but not this part. It's like getting hotter or colder in a game of treasure hunt. Each step, even the wrong ones, guide you closer to the treasure. Now, as you start taking action, you might still have this nagging worry. Okay, I'm trying things, but what if my path isn't secure? What if I end up changing my mind or the world changes on me? Here's a hopefully freeing truth. Your future is not a straight line, and that's okay. In fact, these days, it's almost never a straight line, and it doesn't have to be. Gone are the days where you just pick one career at 18 and then retire from it at 65 with a gold watch, right? We're in a different world now. The average American has about 12 different jobs by the time they're 55. Think about that, 12 jobs. And that number is only rising. Some experts say many of us will have multiple careers, not just jobs, careers in our life. Not only that, but the world is changing so fast that your dream job might not even exist yet, literally. One report by Dell Technologies and the Institute for the Future estimated that 85% of the jobs that will exist in 2030 haven't been invented yet. Let that sink in. You could end up doing something in 10 years that today you can't even Google because there's no word for it yet. So if you're worried, what if I picked the wrong thing? Relax a bit. You're not signing a blood oath here, right? You're choosing a direction. You're allowed to change course. In fact, you will change course, expect it or not. And that's not failure. That's life. Every experience, even if you leave it behind, builds skills and self-knowledge that help you in the next chapter. So think of your life like a road trip at night. Your headlight might only let you see 100 feet ahead of you, right? You can drive across an entire country that way, only seeing a little bit in front of you at a time. You don't stop driving because you can't see your destination from your driveway. You trust that as you move forward, more of the road will reveal itself. It's the same thing with your path. You just need to see the next 100 feet and drive into that. Then the next 100, adjust as you go. Maybe you start down one path and realize, I actually hate this. Okay, that's valuable information. Now you pivot. You haven't failed. You've learned. Thomas Edison famously said, after many failed attempts at the light bulb, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Each failure was just showing him the path that would work. Maybe you go through a few majors in college or a few jobs in your 20s or 30s or 50s before it clicks. That's normal. That's you chiseling your statue, figure out what to keep and what to chip away. What's important is that through all these twists and turns, you stay true to your North Star, the things you value, the problems you care about, the lifestyle that you want. Think of those as your compass. Maybe your compass says you care about helping people heal. That's amazing. Today, that might lead you towards nursing. In 10 years, maybe you're drawn to a mental health startup or you write a book on wellness. The form can change. The mission remains. If you know the general direction, I want to create, I want to help, I want to lead, I want freedom. You can navigate with that even as the terrain changes. So don't stress about drawing a 40-year plan in stone. Instead, get clear on your values and interests. What excites you? What problems grabs your heart? What talents do others notice in you? And use that as your compass. Then take the best step that you can today. Trust that you can course correct as new opportunities or detours appear. All right, so you've cut out the noise, you're exploring, you're staying flexible. There's one more piece to this puzzle, and it's a big one. When you do find something you want, something that sparks that excitement, you've got to commit and develop it. So many people miss this. They expect that once they find their passion, everything will be rainbows and easy and they'll be motivated 24/7. Let me bust that myth right now. Even your dream job, dream career, dream anything will have bad days, will have boring parts, will require a ton of work. That doesn't mean it's wrong. It means you're human. It means you're living in the real world. Stanford researchers discovered something really interesting here. They found that when people believe passion is something you just find fully formed, they tended to give up faster. If the journey got hard, they think, oh, maybe this isn't my passion at all, after they'd quit. It's like they expected a smooth ride, and when they hit a bump, they bailed. In contrast, people who see passion as something that you develop, who know that any worthwhile pursuit will challenge you, those people persist. They push through those challenges and come out the other side stronger. The Stanford experts suggested we should replace find your passion with develop your passion. And I love that. It means you're not searching for a needle in a haystack, you're planting and growing a seed. Think of that passion or goal like a plant in a garden. Finding it is just picking out a seed. That seed has the potential to blossom, but not if you plant it in poor soil and walk away as soon as the first frost hits. You have to tend to it, you have to water it, you have to protect it when the storms come. In real terms, you have to show up even on the days when it's tough. You have to put in the hours to build and hone your skills, because passion without skill can only take you so far. You have to be willing to be bad at something in order to get good at it. So give yourself that grace to be a beginner. Maybe you want to be a writer. Are you willing to write articles that aren't great at first, to throw away pages, to edit and edit until your eyes hurt? That process will develop your passion for writing into a career. Maybe you're passionate about helping people. Awesome. Are you willing to study long hours in nursing school or stay up late working on your new nonprofit idea? That's the price of entry. Passion is energy, yes, but discipline and perseverance keep that passion alive when times get hard. And here's the beautiful thing. When you push through those obstacles, your passion, it deepens. You hit a new level of fulfillment that the dabbler will never reach. It's like climbing a mountain. The hike can get difficult. You're gonna sweat, you'll get tired, but the higher you go, the more breathtaking the view is. And the people who quit at the first steep hill, they never see what you get to see. So when you face a challenge on the path you choose, a setback, a dull period, a moment of doubt, don't just throw up your hands and say, I don't know, maybe it's just not for me. Remember why you started. Remember that every great endeavor has rough patches. This is where you prove how much you want it. This is where you grow. As you keep at it, something amazing happens. You build confidence. You start becoming excellent at your craft, your business, your mission. And passion thrives on that. It's a positive feedback loop. The better you get, the more passionate you feel, which makes you want to get even better, and on it goes. That's when you're truly living in your purpose. By now, you've had some powerful pieces to work with. You know you need to listen to yourself over others. You know you must take action and follow your curiosity rather than waiting for clarity to knock at your door. You know the future isn't set in stone and it's flexible and you can adapt along the way. And you know that once you find a direction that excites you, you have to pour yourself into developing it even when it's hard, because that's how passion grows. Now it's time for the final ingredient, belief. You have to believe that it's possible for you. Not easy, not overnight, but possible, because it is. And I know it's possible because you're still here, still watching this, investing in yourself. Do you realize how many people never get this far? How many people shove that question of what do I really want to the side and go back to living on autopilot? But not you, you're here. You showed up for yourself today, and that's a huge deal. I want to acknowledge you for that. Most people won't even ask this question, let alone seek out answers and stick through a video to the end. And you did. That tells me you're hungry for growth and for change. You care about your future. And I admire that. So pat yourself on the back for a second, seriously, because you've taken a step that many are too scared to take. You're learning, reflecting, getting ready to take action. And this is how transformation starts. But we don't stop there. Knowledge is potential power. Action is what gives it real power. I want you to leave this video and actually do something with what you've learned, even if it's small. Tonight, before you go to bed, choose one idea that resonated with you and plan a concrete next step. Maybe you schedule that class or email that mentor. Maybe you sit and brainstorm business ideas for 30 minutes. Maybe you simply commit to journaling about what you really want every morning this week to keep that inner voice loud and clear. Whatever it is, do it. Make your future tangible starting now. Your future is not some distant daydream. It's built of today's choices. The fact that you're watching this means today you chose to care about it. Keep choosing that day after day. And I promise you, 5 years from now, you'll look back and thank yourself. You'll be somewhere that you chose, doing what matters to you, because you had the courage to pursue it. And remember, it's never too early and it's never too late. Whether you're 16 or 60, you can start listening to that whisper inside and taking steps. There are people who found their calling at 50, 60, even 70. There are teenagers starting businesses from their bedroom. There is no rule except don't give up on yourself. You've got this one life. Do not waste it living someone else's dream. Figure out what lights your fire and then fan those flames. No one can do it for you, and one day you're going to be so grateful that you did. Your journey to discover what you really want to do is exactly that, a journey. Embrace it. Don't rush to the destination. Learn from every step. Every job you take, every skill you learn, every project you try, they're all adding up to your story, a story that's uniquely yours. So trust the process and trust yourself. You showing up here doing the work tells me you're going to make something amazing out of your life. I believe it wholeheartedly. So keep going, keep believing in your vision, even when others don't see it yet. Keep adjusting, learning, and most of all, keep moving forward. Your future self is cheering you on every step of the way. You know that feeling, the tight chest, the knot in your stomach, the voice in your head screaming, what if I fail? As an entrepreneur, fear can feel like a curse that haunts your every move. It whispers that you're not good enough, that you'll lose everything, that everyone will laugh at your bold idea. It paralyzes you, stopping you from making that call, from launching that product, or seizing that big opportunity. And you're not alone in feeling this. In fact, nearly half of people globally say that fear of failure would keep them from even starting a business. Fear stalks every entrepreneur on some level. But here's the truth. Fear is a curse until you learn to harness it. And today, I'm going to show you how to break that curse. The curse of fear in entrepreneurship. Fear of failure is everywhere in the entrepreneurial world. It lurks when you worry about losing a key client or running out of money. One Harvard Business Review article put it bluntly. Fear of failure stalks the world of the entrepreneur. But it also gave a critical insight. For entrepreneurs, courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to persist in spite of it. So think about that. It's okay to feel fear. In fact, with roughly 75% of ventures failing within 10 years, your fears aren't random. There are real stakes in what you're doing. The problem is when that very real fear stops you cold. Fear becomes a curse when it turns into paralysis, when you procrastinate on your business plan or shy away from going to that networking event because you're terrified of rejection. It's a curse when it fills your mind with so many doubts that you quit before you even start. Fear can steal your dreams if you let it. It's the number one enemy of achievement, causing people with great ideas to play it safe or give up entirely. As one entrepreneurship report noted, this curse is even on the rise. About 49% of people today say they wouldn't start a business for fear it might fail. That's almost half the world's potential change makers scared into inaction. So if you felt this, understand fear feels like a curse because it's incredibly good at stopping you. It paints worst case scenarios so vividly that you convince yourself to stay in your comfort zone. But, and this is important, that's the opening chapter of the story. Before we break this curse, we need to understand what fear really is doing to you and how it might even be trying to help you. The science of fear, friend or foe. So why does fear have such a grip on you? To answer that, let's get a bit scientific. When you feel fear, say walking into an investor meeting or seeing your sales dip, your brain alarm system flips on. The amygdala, the ancient part of the brain, perceives a threat and kicks into your fight or flight response. It's the same response that would activate if you encountered a wild predator. Your heart races, your palm is sweating, and your body floods with adrenaline. In a real life or death situation, this reaction, it's a gift. It primes you to run or to fight. But in a business situation, that same response can backfire. The moment the amygdala senses danger, it starts to shut down communication to your cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logical thinking and creative decision making. In other words, when panic takes over, your rational brain goes offline. You can't think clearly about that marketing strategy if your biology is convinced that you're about to be eaten by a lion. And here's the crazy thing. Fear doesn't only come from threats. It's also tied to what you desire. So neurologically, the amygdala, the fear center, sits right next to the nucleus accumbens, which is the brain's reward and desire center. Scientists have found that these two are so intertwined that when your amygdala fires in fear, your desire center lights up too. This means when you're terrified of something, like pitching a huge client, it's actually because you deeply care about the outcome. You really want that deal. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes, but the key point now is that fear is wired into you both as a warning signal and, interestingly, a sign of what matters most. Now, fear isn't all bad. In fact, a little bit of fear can be healthy. Psychologists refer to the Yerkes-Dodson law. It shows that a moderate level of arousal or stress, which fear gives you, can boost your performance, while too little makes you complacent. Ever notice how you sometimes do better when there's a deadline looming? That mild anxiety sharpens your focus. Studies have demonstrated that some stress hormones in small doses can enhance memory and reflexes. It's your body getting you alert and ready. Fear can function as a friend when it pushes you to prepare thoroughly, pay attention, and bring your A game. One study even described how increasing arousal improves performance up to a point, but when it becomes excessive, performance declines. So think of it as a volume knob. A little fear equals dialed in focus. Too much fear equals stage fright freeze. The goal isn't zero fear. The goal is managed fear, keeping it at a productive level. So yes, fear can be a friend or a foe. It's a friend when it gives you that edge, that alertness to dodge a pitfall, or the motivation to grind on your proposal into the night, but it becomes a foe, a curse, when it floods your system and shuts you down. The difference lies in how you handle it, and handling it starts with how you see it. So let's flip the script on how you look at fear. Reframe fear, curse or gift? What if I told you that the very thing you call a curse might hide as a gift inside? It's all about distinguishing real fear from false fear. Gavin de Becker, a security expert and author of The Gift of Fear, put it this way: true fear is a gift. Unwarranted fear is a curse. In other words, not all fear is created equal. Some fear is useful and productive. That's the true fear. For example, the jolt that makes you leap back from a speeding car. But unwarranted fear, the kind we imagine and inflate, that is the curse that holds us back. Take a moment to ask, is my fear trying to protect me from a real danger, or is it just freaking out about imagined worst case scenarios? Most of the time as an entrepreneur, your fears are about things that haven't actually happened. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of what people will think. None of these are saber-toothed tigers in the bush. They're mental boogeymen. They feel intense, but they're not literally about to kill you. And that means we can challenge them. The gift within fear is that it can teach you or warn you. For instance, fear of running out of cash might nudge you to manage your finances more carefully. That's a healthy warning. But once you've heeded the warning, say you've cut your unnecessary expenses and you've improved your revenue model in your business, hanging on to that same fear can become toxic. At that point, it's unwarranted fear telling you you'll never make it on loop. That is the curse to break. So to reframe fear, start treating those anxious thoughts as suggestions, not prophecies. Fear says your idea might flop. Okay, thanks for the suggestion, Mr. Fear. Now, instead of freezing, ask, what can I do to mitigate that risk? Maybe you do a test launch or you gather feedback early. This way you use the fear as data, but you don't let it paralyze you. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate fear. That's impossible. Even top entrepreneurs feel it every day. But to redefine fear in your mind. Fear is a signal, not a stop sign. When you feel that familiar dread, don't see it as a command to halt. See it as a nudge to prepare or a signpost that something matters. Which brings us to a powerful realization. Your fear is often a direct pointer to your deepest desires. Turn fear into fuel. Here's a game-changing perspective. Fear can be fuel. The reason you fear something deeply is often because it deeply matters to you. Think about it. Would you be so nervous about your startup pitch if you didn't care about your business? Of course not. Your fear is a reflection of your passion. One neuroscience entrepreneur coach explained that those big fears mirror big desires. Terrified of public speaking? That's because you desire to share a compelling, well-articulated message. Afraid of failure? Underneath that is your desire to have a positive impact. The fear of failing is really the flip side of wanting to succeed and make a difference so badly. That's huge. It means every time you feel fear, you can ask yourself, what goal or value is this fear connected to? Then you focus on that goal as your motivation. So let's make it practical. Suppose you're afraid of launching your product. Dig deeper. You might discover it's because you truly care about helping people with it and you want it to be perfect. That's your desire talking. So use that. Instead of letting the fear of imperfection stop you, let your desire to help people drive you to launch and improve as you go. In this way, your fear transforms into fuel for action. I'm nervous because this is important to me. Since it's important, I owe it to myself to try my best. Another way to turn fear into fuel is to swap the fear of failure with the fear of regret. Ask any seasoned entrepreneur or look at studies of people later in life. It's the things we don't do that we regret the most. Selena Rizvani, a leadership author who interviewed dozens of top executives, said one consistent message was, I regret the things I did not do more than the things I did. She advises, fear regret more than failure. So imagine fast forwarding yourself to age 90 looking back. Would you be more upset that you tried a business and it collapsed, or that you never tried it at all and always wondered what might have been? 9 times out of 10, people wish they'd at least given their dreams a shot. Use that future regret as motivation today. Let the thought of sitting on the sidelines scare you more than the thought of striking out. So whenever fear of failure is pulling at you, do a little mental judo. Flip it and say, you know what? I'm more afraid of not reaching my potential, of living a smaller life because I didn't have the guts to try. When your fear of missing out on your dreams becomes stronger than your fear of failure, you become unstoppable. Fear turns from a paralyzing curse into a propelling force forward. It pushes you from behind rather than blocking you in front. Purpose over panic, why your mission matters. If fear is fueled by what you care about, then one of the most powerful ways to break its curse is to elevate what you care about. Make your purpose and mission louder than your doubts. I've built my career around a single core belief. #believe. It's my one word, my guiding value. And a big part of that belief is that I'm built to serve. I have a mission to help others. Why does it matter? Because when you lock onto a mission greater than yourself, fear shrinks in comparison. So let me share something personal here. I might be the guy telling you to chase your dreams, but I'm human too. I'm an introvert. I've struggled with anxiety and the deep fear of disappointing people. In fact, I've said my biggest fear is I'm going to show up and let people down. That fear used to weigh on me every time I went on stage or uploaded a video. But you know what helped me free from that fear? Service. I realized my desire to serve others was stronger than my fear of looking bad. I told myself, I'm here to help even one person today. If I let fear stop me, I'm robbing that person of a chance to improve. Suddenly, the equation changed. I became willing to risk judgment, risk embarrassment, even failure, if it meant potentially uplifting someone else. Your mission can do the same for you. When you're deeply connected to why you're doing what you're doing, maybe it's to provide a better life for your family. Maybe you want to change your industry for the better. Maybe you're trying to serve your community. That purpose acts like armor against fear. Every time fear says, what if you fail? And people criticize you. Purpose shouts louder. Someone out there needs you to succeed. As a great reminder from my book, Built to Serve, your mission requires you to step up and do scary things. You do the scary thing because your mission demands it. So identify your one word, that core value that you stand for, and the purpose behind your work. Write it down and put it where you can see it. When fear hits, focus on your mission. It's hard to stay scared about one nasty comment or one failed prototype when you keep in mind the bigger picture of who you want to help and why. Purpose makes you bold. It inspires you to act in spite of fear. As a Smart Femme article about my journey noted, once you grasp and master your mission, you'll have no choice but to free yourself of your fears and fulfill your purpose. The more you anchor into serving and delivering on your mission, the more the curse of fear loses its power over you. Action steps to conquer fear. Okay, so we've talked about understanding fear, reframing fear, and finding fuel and purpose. Now let's get practical. How do you actually move forward when you're afraid? Here are some actionable steps to help you break the fear curse. Spot the fear and name it. First, acknowledge exactly what you're afraid of. Is it the fear of failure, of rejection, of financial loss? Write it down. Often just naming the fear takes away some of its mystique. Realize that most fears They're mental stories. Challenge those stories by asking, is this a true fear, which is protecting me from real harm, or an unwarranted fear? If it's the latter, remember Gavin the Becker's wisdom. True fear is a gift. Unwarranted fear is a curse. Use that insight to stop treating every fear as a 5-alarm fire. Next, flip the script. Reframe the fear into a positive motivation. Ask yourself, what positive desire is hidden inside that fear? So for example, if you're afraid of your business failing, that means you deeply desire success and impact. Focus on that desire. Replace I'm afraid I'll fail with I care so much about this succeeding that I want to give it my all. Also, invoke the fear of regret as needed. Tell yourself you'd rather say I gave it my best than wonder what if years from now. This mental shift turns fear into fuel to propel you forward. Next, build your confidence bank. One proven way to reduce fear is to increase your capabilities. When you know what you're doing, or at least have prepared as much as possible, fear diminishes. Research shows that as entrepreneurs gain skills and knowledge, their fear of failure goes down. So invest in learning. If public speaking scares you, join a speaking club or rehearse 10 times. If you fear not knowing what you're doing in a new business, find a mentor or read books to fill the gaps. Watch videos like these. Each bit of preparation and practice is like a deposit in your confidence bank, giving you evidence that, hey, I can handle this. The more competent you become, the less room fear has to sabotage you. Next, take small, bold steps. It's also called exposure therapy. You don't have to tackle the scariest thing all at once. In psychology, there's a concept called exposure therapy. It means gradually doing the thing that scares you in small doses until your brain learns it's not as dangerous as it thinks. You can use this in business. So scared of doing sales calls? Commit to calling just one potential client today. Nervous about going on camera? Film a 1-minute video just for practice for yourself. Push yourself gently but consistently beyond your comfort zone. As Anxiety Canada explains, exposure involves gradually and repeatedly going into feared situations until you feel less anxious. After a while, your anxiety will naturally lessen. Every small step you take into fear is a step that shrinks that fear down. Over time, what used to petrify you can become almost routine. Next, do it scared. Action over emotion. At the end of the day, no matter how much reframing or preparation you do, there will be moments where fear is still there. Butterflies in your stomach, your heart's pounding. That's okay. Do it scared. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's taking action despite fear. There's a famous quote from author Susan Jeffers. The only way to get rid of the fear of doing something is to go out and do it. It's brilliantly true. You build confidence by doing the thing, not by waiting for confidence to magically appear. So take that decisive action even when your hands are shaking. Send that email, publish that website, ask that investor, hit record on that camera, even if your voice trembles. When you do, you'll realize the fear didn't kill you. And with each bold move, it loses a bit of its grip over you. Action is the antidote to fear. Embrace the fear and move forward. Here's the big secret. The goal is never to have a life free of fear. The goal is to have fear become your ally instead of your enemy. Fear can be the curse that stops you or the fuel that drives you. You get to choose. It all comes down to how you respond when fear shows up at your door. Will you let it in to run the house, or will you thank it for its concern and then show it who's boss? Every successful entrepreneur that you admire has felt the clutch of fear. The difference is they acted anyway. They felt the fear and moved forward. They learned that on the other side of that fear lies freedom. Freedom to grow, freedom to innovate, freedom to find out what they're truly capable of. And you owe it to yourself to do the same. Don't let fear rob the world of your gifts. Don't let it rob you of the life that you're capable of living. When you confront fear head on, when you implement these strategies, reframing your fear, fueling it into desire, grounding yourself in purpose, and taking bold action step by step, you rob fear of its power. It goes from a screaming curse to a manageable whisper. You'll find that confidence isn't something that you're born with. It's something that you earn every time you survive a fearful situation and realize, wow, I handled that. What else can I do? Each victory, no matter how small, is proof that fear was lying about you. So the next time fear pops up, take it as a cue that you're doing something meaningful. Smile and say, all right, I see you, fear, but I'm doing this anyway because my mission, my dream, my life are worth it. And use that surge of adrenaline to sharpen you, not shatter you. Turn the curse into clarity, the fear into focus. You have a choice right now. Stay cursed by fear or step into it and claim your destiny. It's time to break the curse and rewrite your story with courage. Feel that fear, learn from it, harness it, and then do the thing you need to do. Your best life, your business success, and your personal growth all sit just on the other side of that door. Open it, step through. And remember, fear only has the power that you give it. Starting today, promise yourself you won't give it any power to hold you back. Take your power back. Transform that fear into faith and forward momentum. Fear is a curse until you learn to conquer it. And now you've learned how. Now go out there and do what you're afraid to do, and your future self will thank you for it. You ever feel like you're completely lost, like you're stuck in a rut and you can't find your way out? It's a scary feeling, especially for an entrepreneur like you who's used to chasing big dreams. You might be waking up dreading the day, wondering, what am I even doing with my life and business? If that's you, stay with me. It might sound crazy, but a simple sticky note could be the key to rewiring your brain and getting you back on track. I'm going to show you how, step by step, backed by real neuroscience. The problem, feeling lost on your entrepreneurial journey. So feeling lost or stuck is more common than you think, especially among entrepreneurs. You pour your heart into your business, and sometimes it feels like you're getting nowhere. You start doubting yourself, and those doubts just keep replaying over and over in your mind. Studies have found that approximately half of entrepreneurs experience at least one significant mental health challenge like anxiety or depression in their lifetime. So if you're feeling this way, you are not alone, far from it. The problem is, the more that you tell yourself that you're lost or that you're failing, the more your brain believes it. Negative thoughts can become a loop and a mental trick that plays over and over again. But here's the good news. Your brain can change and you can break that loop. Neuroplasticity. Yes, you can change your brain. So your brain isn't fixed in stone. It has an amazing ability called neuroplasticity. That's a fancy word. That means it can rewire and adapt throughout your life. So in simple terms, when you learn something or you repeat something, your brain cells, neurons, form new connections. So neuroscientists often say it like this: neurons that fire together, wire together. So what does that mean? If you repeatedly think or do the same thing, the neurons involved start connecting more strongly, making that thought or that action easier the next time. It's how habits form and skills develop. So think about it. If every day you tell yourself, I'm lost, I'm lost, I'm lost, you're literally wiring your brain to stay lost. Those neurons keep firing together and strengthening that belief. But, and huge but, if you start feeding your brain a new message, you can wire a new pathway. It's like carving a fresh trail through a forest. At first, it's hard to even see, but walk it enough times and it becomes a clear path. According to brain experts, the brain forms interconnections based on repeated simultaneous activity. In other words, repeat a positive thought enough and your brain will rewire itself to adopt it. This is real neuroscience. Your brain can literally change its structure and function with focused practice over time. Okay, so now how do we make use of this superpower of neuroplasticity to help you stop feeling lost and start feeling driven again? That's where our simple tool comes in, the sticky note. Why focus and belief matter, the power of your mindset. So before we dive into the sticky note method, you need to understand why this works. It comes down to focus and belief. There's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, or RAS. Think of it as your brain's filter for information. Your brain is bombarded with signals every second, and the RAS helps decide what actually gets your attention. So you ever notice how if you learn a new word, you suddenly start hearing it everywhere? Or if you decide on a certain car to buy, you suddenly start seeing that car on the road all the time? That's your RAS at work. It filters in what you've programmed it to consider important. So when you feel lost, your mind is often zeroed in on negative thoughts like, I'm directionless or nothing ever works out for me. Your RAS will then filter the world to confirm those beliefs. You'll zero in on more evidence that you're stuck and miss opportunities or solutions. So we need to flip that script for you. By setting a clear intention or goal for yourself and repeating it, you tell your RAS, hey, this is important to me. As a result, you start to notice ideas and people and opportunities that align with that new focus. Neuroscience researchers put it this way: if you clearly define your goal and write it down, you will start noticing connections in conversations and seeing different avenues in your environment that help you achieve it. So those opportunities were probably there all along, but now your brain is tuned in. This is also where belief comes in, right? If you believe you're stuck, you'll act stuck. If you believe you can change, you will start changing. As Henry Ford famously said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. In other words, your mindset sets the limit on your potential. Again, it isn't just a motivational talk. It's backed by psychology. Optimism and a sense of self-efficacy, that's the belief that you can influence your situation, have been linked to better resilience and performance. So when you have a hopeful, positive narrative in your head, you make better choices and create better outcomes. So how do we train your focus and belief towards the positive? All right, enter the sticky note, your new daily brain trainer. Why a sticky note? The science behind this simple tool. So why are we using a sticky note of all things? It seems almost too simple, right? That's the beauty of it. A sticky note is cheap, it's easy, and it can serve as a constant visual reminder of the change that you're trying to make. Here's why it works, backed by science. Writing engages your brain. So don't just think your new intention, write it down by hand. Neuroscience research from the University of Tokyo found that writing by hand actually increases brain activity in areas involved in memory and recall, much more than typing on a phone or computer. In the study, people who wrote on physical paper could remember information better and even completed tasks 25% faster than those who used digital devices. Why? Writing on paper gives your brain unique tactile and spatial information, creating stronger memory traces. In short, putting pen to paper makes your brain sit up and pay attention. When you scribble a powerful phrase on a sticky note, you're imprinting it deeper into your mind than if you just silently thought about it. Next, visual cues trigger action. A sticky note placed in your environment, like on your bathroom mirror or your computer monitor, it becomes a cue. So psychologists who study habits will tell you that cues are a big part of forming new routines. Your environment can prompt you to think or act in a certain way without you even realizing it. So if you see a bright sticky note each morning that says, for example, keep moving forward, it interrupts your autopilot thinking and refocuses you on that idea. It's hard to ignore a neon post-it by your face. By making the positive message highly visible, you ensure that you're repeatedly triggering the new thought. Remember, neurons that fired together, wired together. So every time you see the note and think the thought, you're strengthening that neural wiring. Next, affirmations rewire thought patterns. So the sticky note message will essentially be a positive affirmation or a focused thought. Repeating affirmations have been shown to have real effects on the brain and on stress levels. Research published in Psychology Today notes that positive self-talk can counteract and eventually quiet the negative thoughts in our heads. We all have negative self-talk that holds us back, but when you deliberately introduce positive statements, you start to drown out the negativity over time. So think of it like this. Affirmations are exercises for your brain. Just as doing reps in the gym builds your muscles, doing repetitions of a positive statement builds new mental pathways. Over time, you reprogram your brain and replace the old limiting circuits with new empowering ones. In fact, studies have shown that a habit of affirmations can reduce stress and even improve people's problem solving and health choices. That's because you're training your brain to focus on possibilities and strengths rather than fears. Next, emotion boosts memory. So here's a pro tip. When you read your sticky note, feel it, don't just say it. Neuroscience tells us that emotional experience gets remembered more strongly than neural ones. So, for example, you probably remember your first victory in business or a major setback very vividly because it had a strong emotion attached to it. Researchers found that memories of emotional events are often more vivid and accurate than memories of ordinary events. Emotional arousal hardwires details into your brain. So if your sticky note says, I have a purpose, and reading that gives you a spark of hope or determination, that emotional charge will help lock in the message. So smile, stand tall, and let yourself feel the positivity of confidence of the statement. By combining the intention, which is the words on the note, with emotion, you're signaling to your brain that this is important, and your brain will remember and integrate it faster. So in short, a sticky note works on multiple levels. It's engaging your brain through writing, it's grabbing your attention visually, it's reinforcing positive self-talk, and if you involve emotion, it's turbocharging all of those effects. Not bad for a tiny piece of paper, right? Now let's get practical and walk through how you can use a sticky note to start rewiring your brain and guiding yourself out of that lost feeling. The Sticky Note Brain Rewire, step-by-step guide. Okay, it's time to take action. Grab a pen and a pad of sticky notes, right? We're going to create your very own brain rewiring note. Here's a simple step-by-step process. Step number 1, choose one powerful message. First, decide on a word or phrase that captures what you want to believe or focus on most. Make it positive and present tense. It could be an affirmation, a goal, or simply a reminder of your core purpose. Think about the mindset that you want to install in your brain. So for example, if you've been feeling directionless, your message might be something like, I have a clear purpose, or I am focused and moving forward. If you feel like a failure, it could be, I am capable of great things. Make sure that it resonates with you deeply. Less is more here. A short, clear phrase is easier for your brain to latch onto. And here's a pro tip. In my book, Your One Word, I talk about finding your core value or theme for your life. This can also be a great source for your sticky note. My one word is believe, and seeing that word reminds me of what I do. So take a moment to pick your word or phrase that represents the opposite of feeling lost, something that represents being guided, being purposeful, being strong, or whatever you need right now. Another one of my personal favorites when I feel lost is that great things come to me. Whenever I don't know what to do and I struggle and I feel like none of my plans are working out, I tell myself, I write on a sticky note, great things come to me. Okay, step number 2, write it by hand. Now take out your sticky note and write your message by hand. Write it in big, bold letters so that you can see it at a glance. As you write it, say it in your head or say it out loud. This simple act is already beginning to wire it into your brain. Remember, writing engages your brain more than just typing or just thinking. So for example, if you choose the phrase, I am focused and unstoppable. Write out, I am focused and unstoppable on that note. The physical act of writing and the mental act of affirming it start forging a new neural pathway. And here's a pro tip. Use a color that stands out. I'm using white and black that are on brand for me right now, but a bright yellow or orange sticky note can grab your attention more than a dull color. You want this to literally stand out in your environment and in your mind. Step number 3, place your sticky note strategically. So put that sticky note somewhere where you will see it every single day, especially first thing in the morning and throughout the day. So some good suggestion spots: your bathroom mirror, you see it when you go and you brush your teeth. Your bedroom door, you see it before you go to sleep. The refrigerator, your computer monitor. Choose a place associated with when you often feel lost or in a down mood. So for a lot of people, the morning mirror is powerful because you start the day by looking at this positive message instead of immediately drowning in your worries. So by placing it in a high visibility spot, you ensure that you get that daily cue. It's like setting up a checkpoint where your brain gets a dose of positivity and focus automatically. And hey, you can even have multiple notes for multiple places if you want some extra reinforcement. The key is don't hide it. Make it unmissable. Step number 4, read it, repeat it, feel it. So every time you see your sticky note, read it consciously. Don't just glance at it and ignore it. Take a second to really absorb it. Read it out loud if you can. Yes, talk to yourself. It works. Say it with conviction. Say it like you're telling yourself the most important truth. And here's the important part. Feel the words. If your note says, I have a purpose, recall for a moment why you started your entrepreneurial journey and feel that sense of purpose spark up. If it says, I am strong, stand a little straighter and feel the strength in you. Infuse the affirmation with emotion and meaning. This helps encode it deeper in your brain and faster. It might feel a little silly at first, but trust me, this is training your brain. You're not just reading a note, you're rewiring your neural circuits. Try to do this every single time you encounter the note. So make a tiny little ritual. See the note, say the note, and feel it for a moment. These few seconds of mindfulness are rewiring you bit by bit. Step number 5, take small actions. Optional, but powerful. After reading your note and getting into that positive mindset, try to do something small that aligns with the message. So this step links your new mindset with tangible action, which reinforces it even more. So for example, if your note says, I am moving forward, right after you read it, do a couple of quick tasks that show that you're moving forward. Send that email you've been procrastinated on, or spend 5 minutes brainstorming solutions to a problem that you've been stuck on. This creates a mental association between the state of mind, the I'm proactive and focused, and the actual behavior. Action also gives you evidence that what you're telling yourself is true. So you'll start to say, hey, I am getting things done. Look at me go. Those small wins each day piled up build momentum out of your rut. So remember, feeling lost often causes inaction. So we counter it with small action. Your sticky note becomes a trigger, not just for thinking better, but doing better. Step number 6, stay consistent. Make it a daily habit. Rewiring your brain isn't an instant miracle. It's a daily practice. The brain learns by repetition over time. Researchers have found that forging a new habit takes on average about 66 days of consistent repetition, about 2 months for it to become automatic. So commit to this sticky note practice every day for the next few months. It literally takes less than a minute of your day to do, so make it non-negotiable. If you miss a day, don't beat yourself up. Just get back to it the next day. Some days you might not feel those words are true. That's okay. still say them. In fact, especially say them on the hard days. You are rewiring those old beliefs. And that old I'm lost circuit will take a little time to weaken as the new I have direction circuit takes over. Trust the process. Science backs us up. With each repetition, that new neural connection is getting just a little bit stronger. It's just like muscle training. You might not see the bicep on day 1, right? But by day 30 or 60, there's growth. So keep at it daily. Step number 7, refresh your notes over time. So here's a practical tip. If the sticky note starts to blend into the background, after a few weeks, you might get too used to it, right? Feel free to move it to a new spot or write a new note to keep things fresh. You could upgrade your message as progress. So for example, if I have purpose has sunk in and you're feeling more directed, maybe your next note says execute with passion or great things come to me or whatever next step you need. This isn't about constantly changing goals, but rather keeping your brain engaged. Sometimes a new wording or a new color paper reignites your focus again. But if the original message still hits home, you can absolutely keep the same note up as long as it motivates you. And so by following these steps, you've essentially set up a mini neuroscience experiment just on yourself. You've created a positive feedback loop. The note triggers a positive thought, which triggers positive emotion and action, which gives positive results, which then reinforces the positive belief. This loop, over time, pulls you out of the mental quicksand of feeling lost. It's simple, but incredibly powerful when done consistently. Bringing it all together, motivation and next steps. At this point, you might be thinking, can a sticky note really change my life? And on its own, the sticky note is just a tool. You are the one changing your life. The note is a daily catalyst. It's a prompt to remind you of what matters and what you're capable of. It helps you break the cycle of negative thinking and replaces it with intentional positive focus. So think about this. The fact that you're willing to try this means you haven't given up. There's a part of you that knows that you have a purpose, that you can find your way again. We're just using science and a little piece of paper to draw that out and make it your dominant mindset. Small things lead to big changes. Writing a couple words on a sticky note is a small act, but doing it every day with heart and intention can lead to a profound mindset shift. And remember, you're not just doing mind tricks. You're leveraging how your brain naturally works. You're using neuroplasticity, which is your brain's ability to adapt. You're using psychological principles of habit formation and attention. You're effectively coaching your brain like you would train a muscle. There's real weight behind this. For instance, self-affirmation practices have been shown to reduce stress and increase well-being in scientific studies. Entrepreneurs and high performers around the world use techniques like visualization, affirmations, and goal setting because they work. And now you have your personalized version of that. I want to emphasize, if you feel lost, don't go it alone. Yes, the sticky note exercise is something that you can do by yourself, but also make sure that you're talking to mentors and friends and experts who can support you too. Sometimes a conversation, reading a good book, watching an inspiring video. I've interviewed countless successful people on my channel and featured them where we talk about pushing through tough times. That can also give you a boost of perspective. So use those resources. For example, if finding purpose is a big issue for you, check out my book, Your One Word, or Built to Serve, where I dive into how serving others can give your work meaning. In fact, one strategy I mentioned is remembering who you're serving. Maybe your customers, your family, or a younger version of you. You can even write that on a sticky note. Something like, I build this business to help new moms, or remember why you started. A purpose-driven reminder can be incredibly grounding when you feel lost. It pulls you out of your own head and directs your focus to the impact that you want to have. And let's also talk a little bit about motivation. Change, even with a tool as simple as this, can feel slow. You might do this for a week and think, is anything happening? Trust that it is. Your brain is changing quietly, day by day. Others might start noticing you seem a little more upbeat or determined, even before you fully notice it. You'll gradually find that the lost feelings visit you less often, and when they do, you now have a way to steer your thoughts back on course. So celebrate those small victories. Maybe you felt excited about your project for the first time in months. That's a win. Maybe you solved a problem at work that you felt too stuck to handle before. Another win. These are signs that your sticky note, and more importantly, your commitment to a new mindset is paying off. Your new path forward. Look at the journey we've laid out here. From understanding why you feel lost, to learning that your brain can change, to setting up a practical method to redirect your focus every day. It's actionable and it's backed by neuroscience. Now, the ball is in your court. Will you take that first step? Will you spend 5 minutes or less to write out that note and place it where you need it? I hope you do, because that tiny action could spark a transformation for you. Imagine yourself a few months from now. You walk past your mirror in the morning and you see your note. I am focused and unstoppable. Except it's not just a note anymore. It's your reality. You've been living it. You feel more clear, you feel more driven, and more you again. The challenges are still there. Entrepreneurship is never easy. But now you tackle them with a mindset that says, I will find a way. That's the difference rewiring your brain can make. So you have the tools, you have the knowledge, and deep down, you have that fire that pushed you to start this journey of entrepreneurship in the first place. It might have dimmed for a moment, but you're about to reignite it. Every great entrepreneur, every success story has faced moments of feeling lost. And the ones who rise are those who choose to believe in themselves and put in the work to change. And now, it's your turn. So, take that sticky note, craft your future one day at a time. Your brain will follow your lead. It just needs you to show up consistently. So make that promise to yourself. You are not lost. You are recalibrating. You are learning, growing, and rewiring for success. So go ahead and do this. Do this for you. Start now and stick with it, literally. And soon you'll look back and realize that the fog has lifted and you're on a clear path forward, a path that you created by training your mind. And remember, you have the power to change your story because you have the power to change your brain. It all starts with a single decision, a sticky note, and a belief that things can be different. So are you ready to rewrite your narrative? I know you can do it. Now it's time for you to know it, feel it, and live it every day. Go make it happen. Believe. You know you're procrastinating and you know that it's hurting you. Maybe you tell yourself, I'll do it later, or you scroll through your phone or binge another episode. Hours turn into days and that project, that goal, that dream, it's still sitting there waiting. Meanwhile, opportunities slip away and guilt sets in. Procrastination isn't just a minor habit, it's a dream killer. In fact, research shows that the average person wastes about 218 minutes every single day procrastinating. That's roughly 55 days a year gone, just like that. No wonder 94% of people say procrastination drags down their happiness. The stress, anxiety, and regret that follow make you feel worse, not better. Now, you might even start calling yourself lazy or unmotivated, but here's the truth. You are not a procrastinator, you just have a habit of procrastinating. And like any habit, you can break it. Have you ever considered what procrastination really is? It's not just poor time management or laziness, it's a way of coping. Psychologists say that procrastination is an emotion management problem, not a time management problem. So when a task feels overwhelming, boring, or stressful, you delay to avoid negative emotions like fear of failure or anxiety. Putting it off gives a temporary relief, but you've only traded one problem for another. As Dr. Tim Pitchell explains, procrastination is an emotion regulation problem, not a time management problem. Realizing this is huge. It means there's nothing wrong with you as a person. It means you can learn to manage those emotions and break the cycle. Imagine if you could stop procrastinating forever. How would that change your life? No more last-minute panics, no more beating yourself up. You would finally finish that course, start that business, get in shape, write that book, whatever you have been putting off. It's possible. And today I'm going to walk you through how. We're going to hit this problem from every angle, from your mindset and habits to practical tools, time management techniques, and accountability. By the end of this, you'll have a complete toolkit to destroy procrastination before it destroys your dream. I'm going to bring you proven strategies backed by science used by experts and entrepreneurs who beat procrastination daily. You're going to hear insights from people like Mel Robbins, James Clear, and others who have mastered productivity, and I'll challenge you with actionable steps at each stage. So if you're finally ready to take control of your time and your life, let's dive in. Remember, you're here because you refuse to let procrastination win, and I'm here to help you push through that resistance. Let's break the chains step by step. The first battle against procrastination is one in your mindset. How you think about your tasks and yourself makes all the difference. The biggest mistake you might be making is labeling yourself, I'm such a procrastinator. Stop. As Mel Robbins says, you are not a procrastinator, you have a habit of procrastination. It's a crucial distinction. Procrastination is a behavior you can change, not a permanent trait. When you pin it on your identity, you give away your power to change. It's just who I am. But when you see it as a habit, you realize habits can be broken. This is your new mindset. Procrastination is a behavior, not your identity. Next, understand why you procrastinate and forgive yourself for it. We often procrastinate to avoid something uncomfortable. Maybe the task is hard, maybe you're afraid of failing, or maybe you feel overwhelmed. It's important to show yourself some compassion here. Beating yourself up just adds more negative emotion, which fuels more procrastination. Instead, acknowledge that everyone procrastinates sometimes, even famously productive people. Did you know that Leonardo da Vinci struggled with procrastination? He started tons of projects and left many unfinished. One painting took him 25 years. The point is, you're not alone or broken. Forgive yourself for past delays. In fact, research shows that forgiving yourself for procrastinating on a task can reduce the chance you'll procrastinate similarly in the future. Self-forgiveness helps you let go of guilt so you can move on without that emotional baggage dragging you down. Now, let's talk about those negative emotions. We established that procrastination is often about avoiding a feeling. Maybe you're scared your work won't be perfect, so you avoid starting at all. Maybe the task is boring, so you seek fun elsewhere. Recognize that procrastination is basically a way to delay stress, a short-term mood boost at a long-term cost. Once you see this, you can start tackling the real issue, the fear of discomfort itself. For example, if you're afraid of failing, remind yourself that failure is not final, but not trying guarantees failure. As entrepreneur Tim Ferriss puts it, conditions are never perfect. Someday is a disease that will take your dreams to the grave. Instead of waiting to feel ready, adopt the mindset that action precedes motivation. Mel Robbins emphasizes this in her famous line. In any area of your life that you want to change, there's one fact you need to know. You are never going to feel like it. Hear that again. You won't ever truly feel ready. If you sit around waiting for a magical wave of motivation, you'll be waiting forever. The antidote is to start before you feel ready. Motivation comes once you begin. One powerful mindset shift is to focus on future gains, not present pain. Procrastination tempts you with immediate comfort. Let's watch some Netflix now, at the expense of long-term benefits like your career growth or your personal pride. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, has a great quote. Procrastinating on something important is choosing to delay a better future. Every time you delay a meaningful task, you're basically robbing your future self. Think about that. Envision the future you who has accomplished this thing. How do you feel? Proud, relieved, successful? Now realize that today's action is what creates that future. When you catch yourself thinking, I'll do it later, imagine your future self looking back, wishing you hadn't waited. Turn procrastination into an enemy of your future success, because it is. Also, shift your mindset from perfectionism to progress. A lot of procrastination is rooted in perfectionism. You're afraid to start or finish because it might not be perfect. But striving for perfection often hinders progress. The key is to give yourself permission to be human. Your work doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to get done. Even imperfect work is better than no work at all. Successful entrepreneurs and creators thrive on iteration. They put out a version, learn, improve. They don't sit forever trying to craft the flawless product in one go. So adopt the mantra, progress, not perfection. Celebrate the fact that you made any progress. You wrote a page, brainstormed ideas, completed a small task. Each small win builds momentum. Remember, consistent small steps beat occasional grand gestures. Lastly, cultivate a growth mindset about your ability to change. Psychologist Carol Dweck's research shows that believing your abilities can grow makes you more resilient and persistent. Apply that here. If you've been a procrastinator up till now, so what? You can change. Tell yourself, I'm getting better at taking action. Each day, I'm improving. When you slip up, and it's going to happen, don't spiral into, see, I'll always procrastinate. Instead, evaluate it like a scientist. What triggered me to procrastinate today? How can I handle that better the next time? Learn and adjust. Growth mindset is all about viewing challenges and setbacks as opportunities to learn, not final judgments on you. So in summary, to rewire your mindset, drop the labels, forgive yourself, understand the real emotional battle, and commit to action over comfort. Embrace imperfection and focus on just starting, even when you don't feel like it. Every big achievement is just an accumulation of small actions. So get out of your head and remember that action now beats ideas in your head. It's been said that you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to become great. So start. Mindset is huge, but it's not enough on its own. We need to back it up with solid habits and routines. Why? Because willpower is fickle. Some days you wake up inspired, many days you don't. Habits make taking action automatic, so you rely less on sheer willpower in the moment. As James Clear writes, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. In other words, your daily routines will determine whether you consistently beat procrastination or not. Start by examining your daily schedule. Do you have a routine, especially in the morning? Many procrastinators start the day in reactive mode, waking up late, rushing, checking phones, responding to others, which means your day's direction is already out of your control. Flip that. Design a morning habit that proactively sets the tone. It could be as simple as wake up at a set time, quick exercise or cold shower to energize, then tackle one important task for just 15 to 30 minutes. This concept of doing a morning victory can create momentum for the rest of your day. In Brian Tracy's famous words, eat that frog. Your frog is that big important task you're most likely to put off. If you do it first, everything else gets easier. As Mark Twain said long ago, if you have to eat a live frog, it's best to do it first thing in the morning. It sounds gross, but the idea is golden. Do your hardest task first. This habit alone can skyrocket your productivity. When you consistently front load your day with productive work, you train yourself that procrastination is not an option at the start of the day, and that momentum often carries through. Another powerful habit is the 2-minute rule. This comes from productivity experts, notably David Allen and James Clear, and it's magic for procrastinators. The rule is, if something will take less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. Don't put it on a list. Don't mentally stash it for later. Just do it. Reply to that short email, take out the trash, open the document. You'll be amazed how this clears the small stuff that clutters your mind. James Clear also suggests using the 2-minute rule to start bigger habits. Make the first 2 minutes of any task ridiculously easy. So if you want to write an essay, your 2-minute action is write one sentence. If you need to clean, start by cleaning one countertop. The idea is to overcome the inertia of starting. Anyone can do 2 minutes, and once you've started, you often keep going. The habit of showing up is more important than the size of the effort at first. By committing to just a tiny action, you lower the psychological barrier. Try it. You'll often find that 2 minutes often turns into 5, 10, or 30 once you're in motion. Now let's talk about environment as part of your habits. Your environment can either promote good habits or bad ones. If your phone distracts you every 2 minutes with notifications, or your workspace is a total mess, you're habitually cueing yourself to procrastinate. Make it a habit to design your environment for focus. For example, when it's work time, put your phone on Do Not Disturb and out of reach. Maybe use apps that block social media during certain hours. As the saying goes, make the cue for your bad habit invisible. Simultaneously, make it easier to start your work. Leave the tools you need out and ready. If each day you waste 10 minutes finding files or a charger, that's a small obstacle that gives your brain a chance to wander off. Instead, set up a dedicated clutter-free work area. Here's a habit hack. At the end of each workday, take 5 minutes to organize for tomorrow. Lay out the documents or write the short to-do list for your next morning. This way, when you start your next session, you slide right in. Now, create habits that make work enjoyable or at least bearable. One technique is called temptation bundling, a concept from behavioral science. This means pairing something you enjoy with something you tend to procrastinate on. For example, only listen to your favorite podcast when you're doing house chores, or have a special coffee only when working on your business plan. Research by Professor Katie Milkman found that bundling a want activity with a should activity increases your follow-through. In practice, maybe you only watch that Netflix show while you're on the treadmill, or you only go to your favorite cafe when you have reading to do. By doing this, you create a routine where the fun part pulls you into the less fun task. And you don't feel as much urge to procrastinate because you're getting a reward simultaneously. Let's not forget the habit of daily planning. Each day, either the night before or morning of, write down 1 to 3 top priorities for that day. This is sometimes called setting MITs, your most important tasks. The habit here is clarity. When you know exactly what needs to be done today, you're less likely to spin in indecision, which often leads to procrastination. So for example, instead of a vague work on a project, a MIT would be finish slides 1 to 3 of the presentation or draft the introduction paragraph. Clarity kills procrastination. And when you've checked off those 1 to 3 big things, you feel accomplished. That satisfying feeling reinforces the habit of focused work. Consider adopting a don't break the chain habit popularized by comedian Jerry Seinfeld. Here's how it works. You get a calendar and mark an X on each day you make progress on your chosen task or habit. Do something every day, even if small, and keep that chain of X's going. Soon you have a streak, and your only job is to not break the chain. It sounds simple, even silly, but it's incredibly motivating. Humans love seeing continuous progress. Whether it's writing 50 words a day or coding for 20 minutes, commit to consistency. Seinfeld's method originally was about writing jokes daily. Every day he wrote, he'd mark a big red X. He said, "Don't break the chain." This visual habit tracker taps into our psychology. Once you have a streak, you won't want to break it. It builds discipline in a game-like way. So to summarize our habit strategies, to beat procrastination, embed good behaviors into your routine so they become your default. For example, the morning frog. Tackle a top task first thing every day, before anything else distracts you. The 2-minute rule. Always start tasks in a tiny way that takes less than 2 minutes. Next is your environment design. Remove distractions, turn off notifications, etc., and set up cues for work, like opening your dock before lunch, etc. Next is temptation bundling. Pair tasks with something enjoyable. Example, good music only when working. Next are your daily mitts. Write 1 to 3 must-do tasks every day and focus on them first. Next is don't break the chain. Use a calendar or app to mark your daily progress and aim to keep the streak going. These habits repeated consistently will make procrastination a rarity. You'll find that taking action becomes your new habit and delaying it feels weird. It takes time. You're rewiring behaviors, but every day you practice these, you strengthen the take action muscle and weaken the put it off muscle. Now that we have mindset and habits covered, let's add some tools and techniques to your new arsenal. Think of these as hacks or supports that make beating procrastination easier. You don't have to do this on sheer internal strength. There are plenty of external tools to help keep you focused and accountable. One of the most famous productivity tools is the Pomodoro technique. If you haven't tried it, it's worth a shot, especially if long work periods intimidate you. The Pomodoro technique breaks your work into manageable chunks. Specifically, you work for 25 minutes. That's 1 Pomodoro. Then take a short 5-minute break. After 4 cycles, you take a longer break, 15 to 30 minutes. This method is great for procrastinators because anyone can commit to 25 minutes. It's not a huge, daunting stretch of time. It also turns work into sort of a game. How many Pomodoros can I finish today? Importantly, during those 25 minutes, you focus on just one task. No multitasking, no checking messages. Then you must take the break as a reward. This not only improves focus and prevents burnout, it also trains you to work within set times. It feels easier to start because you know a break is coming and you know you only have to sustain focus for a short period. As one guide puts it, it's easier to commit to 25 minutes of work at a time than a whole afternoon of nonstop work. Pomodoro is simple. You grab a timer, and there are many Pomodoro apps and websites, set 25 minutes and go. When it rings, you mark an X. You just completed 1 session and reward yourself with a 5-minute stretch, coffee, or a bit of music. Just not something that derails you entirely. Then you do the next Pomodoro. This tool can transform daunting, procrastination-prone days into a series of focus sprints. Another set of tools are website and app blockers. Let's face it, the internet is a procrastination paradise. Social media, news feeds, YouTube, they are designed to steal your attention. There are apps like Freedom or Cold Turkey, Stay Focused, and so on that allow you to block distracting websites or apps during the work times. If you can't trust yourself not to check Instagram or TikTok, let a tool help. For example, you can configure Freedom to block all social media and video sites from 9 a.m. to noon on weekdays. This way, even if your procrastinating brain tries to wander, it hits a wall. Out of sight, out of mind. Consider also using focus apps like Forest, which grows a virtual tree the longer you don't touch your phone. If you exit the app to procrastinate, your tree dies. It's a quirky but effective way to motivate yourself to stay off your phone. These tools essentially create an environment where the path of least resistance is to work, not to procrastinate. For task management, use to-do lists or project management tools that work for you. Sometimes procrastination happens because we feel disorganized or forget what to do. So tools like Trello and Asana can help break big projects into smaller tasks and track them. Even a simple notebook or a notes app with checkboxes can do wonders. The key is to externalize your tasks, which means you don't rely on your brain to remember everything. David Allen, who's the author of Getting Things Done, says your brain is for having ideas, not holding them. If you regularly brain dump your tasks into a system, you won't procrastinate out of overwhelm because you can clearly see what needs to be done and you can tackle one thing at a time. Calendar blocking is another technique and tool combo. Use your calendar to schedule time blocks for your important tasks. Instead of just a to-do list that you'll get to sometime, actually decide when you'll do it by scheduling it. For example, block 10 to 11 a.m. for writing that report on your calendar. Treat it like an appointment or meeting with yourself. This creates a structure. At 10 a.m. a notification pops up and you know, this is what I'm supposed to be doing now. It reduces decision fatigue. You don't have to decide when to do a task. It's pre-decided, and it creates a bit of healthy pressure to start on time. Many top performers swear by time blocking. Even if they don't always perfectly stick to it, it gives them a guide for the day. You also might want to use timers and countdowns as psychological tools. For example, if you're really dragging on starting something, set a timer for 5 minutes and tell yourself, I'll do as much as I can in 5 minutes. This is a mini version of the Pomodoro idea. The ticking timer can create urgency, and knowing it's just 5 minutes gets you over the hump to start. Often you'll find you want to keep going after it rings, and if not, take a short break and then do another 5 to 10 minutes. There's a reason game show contestants get nervous with a ticking clock. It makes you focus. Use it to your advantage. Accountability tools can also be game changers. We'll talk more about accountability with people in the next section, but even a tool like a habit tracker app, think Habit Bowl or Streaks, or a journal can hold you accountable to yourself. At the end of the day, check off whether you avoided procrastination and accomplished what you planned. Seeing a visual record like a checklist or streak count of your progress can motivate you to keep it up. If you like analog, a simple habit tracker chart on paper or whiteboard works too. Lastly, remember that tools are there to support systems, not act as magic pills. You might need to experiment to find what works best for you. One person might love the Pomodoro app on their phone, another might prefer a simple kitchen timer. One might stick to paper lists, another thrives in Notion or Google Calendar. Use whatever fits your style, but be consistent in using it. A tool unused is useless. If you decide, I will block Facebook and Reddit during work hours, actually use the blocker consistently until not checking those becomes second nature. If you schedule your day on a calendar, respect those blocks as if they were meetings with a CEO. The more you honor your own system, the more effective those tools become in combating procrastination. So let's quickly recap the tools and techniques. First is the Pomodoro timer. So you work in 25-minute focus bursts and 5-minute breaks. This will help you build focus and make starting easier. Next, we're looking at website and app blockers. We're going to temporarily block distracting sites and apps during work intervals to prevent temptation. Next, we're looking at focus apps like Forest. We're going to gamify staying off distractions by growing a tree by not using our phone. Next, we're going to look at to-do lists. You're going to write down your tasks and break them into subtasks so you always know the next small action. Next, you're going to look at calendar blocking. Schedule tasks on your calendar so you have a specific time to get them done. Next, we're going to look at timers and alarms. You use countdowns for short bursts or alarms to remind you to start the next task. And finally, habit trackers. Track daily progress to visually reinforce consistency so we don't break the chain. Armed with these tools, you'll create a fortress against procrastination. When your mind tries to wander, something will be there to catch it. A timer will ring, a site will be blocked, a checklist will stare at you. Over time, you'll need the tools less as your own discipline and focus grow stronger, but they are incredibly helpful, especially in the beginning. Use them. One reason people procrastinate is because of poor time management, or rather, priority management. When you don't have a plan for your time, it's easy for minutes and hours to slip away on trivial things. Taking control of your schedule and priorities will rob procrastination of one of its favorite little hiding spots. So first, get clear on what truly matters. Not all of your tasks are created equal. Sometimes we procrastinate by doing other work that feels productive but isn't actually moving the needle, like reorganizing your files instead of writing the report. This is where prioritization is key. A classic approach is the Eisenhower matrix. This is urgent versus important. Focus on important but not yet urgent tasks. That's where long-term success lies, and also where procrastination often hits because there's no immediate deadline yet. Make sure your day includes time for these important tasks before they become last-minute emergencies. Here's a great quote from Stephen Covey. The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. In practice, that means if your goal is to, say, write a book, then writing needs to be blocked out on your schedule like an appointment, not squeezed in randomly, which ties back to calendar blocking. Next, break big projects into smaller tasks. We touched on this, but it's worth repeating from a time management perspective. One big reason we procrastinate is overwhelm. Oh man, this project will take 20 hours. I don't have 20 hours right now. The trick is to chunk it down. Can you spend 1 hour on research today? Outline one section tomorrow? As a Wired article advises, divide the project into smaller, feasible steps to reduce the perceived challenge. When you schedule these smaller steps across days or weeks, what seemed impossible now seems doable. You wouldn't sit and eat a whole pizza in one bite. You eat it slice by slice. Treat your projects the same. Slice them up. Write down those slices, your tasks, and you'll feel much less urge to put it off. Next, leverage deadlines, even artificial ones. There's a law called Parkinson's Law that states that the work expands to the time available for its completion. If you have a task with no clear deadline, set one. And if you have a deadline, consider setting an earlier personal deadline. For example, if something is due by Friday, tell yourself it's due Wednesday and schedule accordingly. Shorter timelines can actually make you more efficient by forcing focus. Be careful. The goal is not to rush poorly, but to give yourself a sense of urgency. Many of us say, I work better under pressure. It's not that the work is truly better, it's that the pressure forces you to focus intensely because now it's urgent. You can simulate that pressure by creating milestones. For example, I will finish this draft number 1 by 10 a.m., and then maybe reward yourself. Draft number 2 by noon, etc. Keep those promises to yourself. If needed, share them with someone. Example, I'll email you the draft by 5 p.m. Wednesday to add accountability to your deadline. Here's another time management tip. Schedule breaks and downtime. It sounds counterintuitive, but if you don't deliberately schedule rest, you might procrastinate as a form of sneaky rest. We often procrastinate because we're mentally tired or drained, so we seek a break on social media. By planning breaks, you ensure you get rest in a controlled way without derailing the day. For example, use the Pomodoro breaks, or schedule 3:30 to 4 o'clock as walk break daily. Guilt-free break time actually prevents burnout and keeps your focus sharper when you work. It's much better to say, I'll work for 90 minutes, then take a 15-minute break, than try to slog endlessly and end up procrastinating half the time anyway. When you know a break is coming, it's easier to fend off distractions during work time. Next, eliminate time wasters ruthlessly during your work blocks. This means when it's time to work, work. Don't multitask personal stuff. For example, avoid reading non-urgent emails or checking news in the middle of your focus time. Batch those for later. Each quick diversion has a cost. Studies show that even a short distraction can significantly increase the total time to complete a task because of the mental switching cost. So if you're doing a 30-minute focus session, commit fully. Tell colleagues or family if needed that you're not to be disturbed for that half hour, unless the house is actually on fire. Close unnecessary tabs. One thing that helps is to clear your desktop or workspace of everything except the task at hand. If you're writing a proposal, close everything except your proposal doc. Out of sight, out of mind. Next, utilize time buffers for tasks. People often procrastinate when they underestimate how long something will take and then panic. So here's a trick. Assume things will take at least 1.5 times longer than your first estimate. This is known as the planning fallacy. So if you think something is 2 hours of work, budget 3. That way you won't be caught off guard. And if you finish early, great. Use that extra time as a bonus break or get ahead on something else, or knock out some quick small tasks. By budgeting more time, you reduce the anxiety of, I don't have enough time right now to do it, so I'll postpone. Instead, you make enough time by scheduling generously. Finally, practice saying no and reducing commitments where possible. This might sound outside procrastination, but it's not. If you have too much on your plate, you're going to default to procrastinating on some of it because it's impossible to do all of it. Sometimes the best time management is doing less. Focus on the projects that truly matter and see if you can delegate or delay the rest. It's the 80-20 rule. Often 20% of the tasks create 80% of the value. Identify those and prioritize them. The less critical stuff can be minimized. Procrastination becomes a non-issue when you're genuinely engaged and focused on a few key priorities rather than overwhelmed by many. So here are the time management takeaways. 1, we're going to prioritize important tasks. We're going to schedule important but not urgent tasks before they become urgent. Make sure your main goals get on your calendar. Next, we break tasks down. Small scheduled steps beat one giant undefined project. Plan the slices over time. Next, you've self-imposed deadlines. Create urgency by setting deadlines and milestones for yourself and stick to them. Next, Time block your day. Assign tasks to time slots. If it's 10 a.m. and the calendar says write your chapter, you write that chapter. Next, schedule breaks. Include short breaks to recharge so you don't end up taking unplanned ones via procrastination. Next, single task focus. During a planned work block, eliminate all other distractions. Monotask for better efficiency. Next, pad your estimates. Give yourself more time than you think needed. It reduces your last-minute crunch stress. And finally, trim the fat. If you have too much to do, prioritize and drop or delay what you can. Don't let an overfilled plate freeze you into doing nothing. By managing your time and priorities effectively, you make it easier to take action and harder to procrastinate. You'll start each day knowing exactly what to do and when, which leaves less room for indecision or avoidance. Remember, a dream without a plan is just a wish. So plan your time and work that plan. Each hour is an investment. Spend it intentionally. The final piece of the puzzle is accountability. Humans are social creatures, and we often perform better when we know someone else is watching or rooting for us. When it comes to overcoming procrastination, accountability can boost your success dramatically. In fact, a study by the American Society of Training and Development found that if you commit a goal to someone, you tell someone about it, you have a 65% chance of achieving it. But if you also schedule regular check-ins with that person, your chance of success jumps to 95%. Those are crazy odds in your favor, just by adding an accountability partner and meetings. So who can you enlist? It could be a friend, a family member, a colleague, or a mentor. The key is someone who will be honest with you and whom you don't want to disappoint. Tell them your specific goal or task and by when you'll do it. For example, you might tell a friend, I'm going to finish my first draft of my business proposal by Sunday. Can I send it to you then? Just knowing that someone expects to see results is often enough to spur you into action. We naturally want to look reliable and keep our word. When left to ourselves, it's too easy to break promises we make to ourselves. By breaking a promise to someone else, that stings a bit more. Consider forming or joining an accountability group or partner system. This can be as simple as a weekly check-in text with a friend. Each of you shares your top goals for the week every Monday and then report progress on Friday. Or join a mastermind group of peers in your field where everyone shares goals and progress. Entrepreneurs often do this to keep each other on track. There are also online communities, forums, social media groups, etc., where you can declare your goals and report back. The format matters less than the principle. Don't go it alone. Sometimes professional accountability can help, like hiring a coach or mentor. A coach's job is partly to hold you accountable for what you say you'll do. If you have the resources, a coach can be that person who checks in with you and pushes you. However, not everyone can or needs to hire someone. Free accountability via peers works as well. Even publicly announcing your goals can create accountability. For instance, share on LinkedIn or Facebook, I'm committing to launch my blog by X date. The social pressure of having declared it can motivate you to follow through because you know people might ask, hey, how's that blog coming along? Another method is to set up stakes. This is a bit of a gamified approach. Basically, attach a cost to not doing your task. For example, give a trusted friend $100 and say, if I finish the project by Friday, I get this $100 back. If not, you donate it to a charity or opponent of my choice. Platforms like Stick allow you to formalize this kind of commitment contract. The idea is to make procrastination painful. Suddenly, hanging out on social media instead of working isn't just harmless relaxation, it could cost you money or embarrassment. It's extreme, but for some people, very effective. Accountability can also be internal. Track your own promises. Use a journal to write, did I do what I said I'd do today? Every day. Some people give themselves a star or score for the day. The trick is to be consistent and honest with yourself. If you see a string of days where you fell short, it's a wake-up call to adjust something. If you see progress, it builds confidence. Sharing this self-tracking with someone, like showing your workout streak to a friend each week, can add external accountability to your internal system. One often overlooked aspect is accountability in pairs, trading obligations. For example, if both you and a friend have tasks you're procrastinating on, agree to swap, not swap tasks, but swap oversight. I'll check on you, you check on me. Maybe schedule a co-working session on Zoom where each of you works on your own task. But just being on the call together actually makes you work because you'd feel silly watching Netflix while on a focused session with someone. This is sometimes called body doubling. Just having another person present, virtually or in person, can keep you on track. Lastly, celebrate and share your successes with your accountability partners. When you meet your deadlines or you overcome a procrastination hurdle, share that victory. Let's say you told your team you'd finish a draft by Friday, and you do. Announce it and thank them for holding you to it. Positive reinforcement matters. It also makes others more willing to continue supporting your accountability because they see it working and that you're appreciative. So here are some accountability action steps. First, find an accountability buddy. Pick someone you trust and respect. Share your goals and ask them to check in or vice versa. Set a regular check-in time. Next, join a group. If one exists, like a study group, writing club, startup mastermind, join it or create one among like-minded friends. Next, go public. Announce your commitment or deadline to your audience, your friends, your followers. The public pressure can drive you. Next, use commitment devices. Consider adding stakes, like a bet or a pledged donation if you don't follow through. Next, schedule accountability meetings. As the study suggests, a recurring meeting or call greatly boosts success. It could be weekly or bi-weekly, whatever makes sense. Next, track and report. Keep a log of your tasks and whether you did them. Share this with your buddy or group in each meeting. Next, encourage and challenge each other. If your partner slips, encourage them. If they keep slipping, push them kindly and remind them why they set the goal. Have them do the same for you. When you know someone will ask you, "Hey, did you do it?" your brain will think twice before procrastinating. It's like having a coach in your corner at all times. Over time, you internalize this accountability and build a reputation with yourself for getting things done. But until that habit is rock solid, let social accountability be your safety net. Remember, even top CEOs have boards of directors or stakeholders to answer to. That's built-in accountability. Use whatever level of accountability you need in your life to keep you honest and moving forward. We have covered a lot: mindset shifts, habit formations, tools, time management, and accountability. This is the formula to destroy your procrastination forever, but knowledge alone won't save you. Action will. So I'm ending with a challenge. Pick one tip from this video and do it today. Not tomorrow, not someday, today. Maybe it's doing a 25-minute Pomodoro on that task you've been avoiding. Maybe it's texting a friend to be your accountability partner. Maybe it's writing down your top 3 priorities for tomorrow. Just do something to break the inertia. Remember, procrastination is not a life sentence. It's a habit you now know how to break. It starts with deciding that your goals, your dreams, your responsibilities are worth more than the fleeting comfort of putting things off. It continues with believing you have the power to change it, because you do. And it succeeds with consistent practice of these principles. You won't be perfect. There will be days that you slip. That is okay. When that happens, don't beat yourself up. Recall what we discussed, forgive yourself, learn from it, and jump back on the next day. Imagine yourself a few months from now having implemented these changes. Think of the projects completed, the stress avoided, the confidence gained. Procrastination has stolen enough from you already. Your time, your peace of mind, your lost chances. No more. Starting now, you're taking control. You're going to manage your emotions. You're going to build empowering habits. You're going to use your tools, guard your time, and lean on others for support. This holistic approach means you're attacking the problem from every side. Procrastination won't stand a chance. You've got everything you need to begin. Now take that first step. Mel Robbins might count you down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Make this moment perfect by acting. As you start to move forward, you'll find that momentum kicks in, motivation sparks, and a new identity forms. You'll start seeing yourself as someone who takes action consistently, a productive, reliable person, an achiever. That identity will only get stronger the more you reinforce it with action. So the next time procrastination whispers in your ear, you'll recognize it. It's just fear or discomfort trying to trick you. You now know better. You have the strategies to respond. Maybe you'll speak back to that voice with, "I'll feel better if I start now." Or you'll use the 5-second rule to shut it down and move. You've got this. Every major success is built on many small moments of choosing to act when it would be easier not to. Train yourself in those small moments. Win those and you win the war. I believe in you. I've seen entrepreneurs and creators go from chronic procrastinators to productivity powerhouses using these exact strategies. They didn't become robots or lose their personality. They simply learned to value their goals over their temporary comfort. They learned to love the feeling of progress more than the short-lived relief of avoidance. And that shift made all the difference. It will for you too. No more excuses. No more waiting. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now. It's time to step into the future you want. One action at a time. Your future self is watching. Make them proud by what you do today. So go ahead and after this video, do the most important thing you've been putting off. You'll thank yourself later. I promise. It's your turn to beat procrastination and unleash your potential. I'm rooting for you. Now stop watching and start doing. Believe. You feel tired. Your bank account is on life support. You're working on your dream alone while everyone else seems to have support. It's hard, right? In this video, I'm going to show you how to master self-discipline even when you're exhausted, broke, and feeling isolated. And by the end, you'll have a blueprint to stay disciplined and turn your situation around. The power of self-discipline. Now you might wonder, why is self-discipline such a big deal? Because discipline is the great equalizer. It's what lets the underdog win. In fact, a famous study by psychologist Angela Duckworth found that self-discipline was more than twice as important as IQ for school performance. Think about that. It's not just talent or smarts. It's your consistent actions that matter most. As motivational speaker Jim Rohn said, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Without that bridge, even the best ideas go nowhere. Let's talk about discipline versus motivation. A lot of people will wait to feel motivated, but motivation comes and goes like a wave. Discipline stays when motivation fades, and science backed this up. For a long time, psychologists believed willpower was a limited resource that you run out of when you're tired. New research shows that if you believe you have more willpower, you actually do better. In other words, mindset matters. So don't say, I'm too drained. Tell yourself, I've got more in me. This mental trick can help push you through when other people quit. Self-discipline is self-love. Remember, being disciplined isn't a punishment, it's a form of self-care. Will Smith put it perfectly. If you want to be happy, you have to love yourself, which means you have to discipline your behavior. Every time you stick to your plan, whether it's working on your business plan or you're saying no to distractions or junk food, you're proving that you actually care about your future. So see discipline as a positive thing that's loving, not limiting. Pushing through when you're tired. Entrepreneur life often means long days and late nights. You might be juggling a day job and building your dream after hours. It's natural to feel exhausted. So how do you stay disciplined when you're running on empty? Here's Energy Management 101. First, take care of the basics. Studies show regular exercise boosts your energy, reduces fatigue. Even a quick walk can clear your mind when you're tired. Also, don't skimp on sleep if you can help it. A tired brain makes weak decisions. Discipline isn't about grinding yourself into the ground. It's about doing what it takes to keep your body and mind strong. Next, do the hard thing first. Willpower is strongest at the start of your day. If you're most alert in the morning, use that time for your most important tasks. So for example, if you need to write your business proposal or code your app, do it before checking emails and definitely before social media. As the day goes on, your decision-making fuel runs out. By night, you're tempted to say, I'll just do it tomorrow. Beat this by front-loading your toughest work when your energy is highest. This habit builds confidence and momentum. Next, tiny steps on tired days. So what about days when you're beyond tires? On those days, scale down, but don't zero out. Promise yourself to do at least 5 minutes of work on your goal. Often just starting is enough to get you in the zone. Even if you truly only do a few minutes, you're keeping the habit alive. Consistency is more important than intensity. Showing up, especially when you don't feel like it, strengthens your discipline muscle for the long run. Staying disciplined when you're broke. Lack of money can drain your morale. Bills are piling up and your business just isn't making money yet. And you're wondering, how long can you hold out for? Take a breath. Many legendary entrepreneurs started with almost nothing. What they had was discipline and resourcefulness. So we want to have a bootstrap mindset. According to the US Small Business Administration, 75% of new businesses are funded by personal savings. That means most entrepreneurs start by using whatever little money they have. If you're broke, you're actually in good company. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, focus on being resourceful with what you do have. In my book, Built to Serve, I wrote about the importance of resourcefulness over resources. Don't wait until you have a lot of money to start. Use your time, your energy, and your hustle to get going. For example, if you can't afford a fancy website, start with a simple social media page. Can't hire staff? Use free tools or enlist your friends for help. Every problem has a solution if you stay disciplined and creative. Next, budget your time like money. When cash is tight, wasting time is even more expensive. Treat your time like gold. Set a daily schedule and stick to it. That includes hours for working on your business or your skills. This is where discipline pays off big. While others waste hours on Netflix, you're building your future. It's not easy. It might mean saying no to nights out or waking up earlier, but remember why you're doing it. Short-term sacrifices lead to long-term success. As the Navy SEALs say, discipline equals freedom. Discipline with money and your time now creates a financial freedom that you want later. Next, never spend before you earn. A practical tip when money is low is avoid debt and overspending on business extras. If you've only got $100 to spare, use it wisely on things that generate value, like a prototype or marketing to get your first customer. Reinvest your earnings. My rule is simple. Never spend money before you've earned it. This forces you to be strategic. You'll find cheaper alternatives. You'll negotiate harder, and maybe even discover that you don't need a certain thing at all. Discipline in your finances, living lean, keeps your dream alive until the revenue starts rolling in. Self-discipline when you feel alone. Entrepreneurship can be lonely. Your friends or family might not understand your ambition. You might not have a partner or a team yet. And late at night, it's just you and your laptop. So how do you stay disciplined without support? Start by finding your why. The secret to pushing through loneliness is having a powerful reason to keep going. As the philosopher Nietzsche famously said, and Viktor Frankl often quoted, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." So what is your why? Maybe you want to lift your family out of poverty, prove the doubters wrong, change the world with your product. Hold that why in your heart. In Built to Serve, I talk about how your purpose comes from your pain. The challenges you faced, being broke, feeling alone, they're fuel for you. They give you a mission to help others in a similar situation. If you remember who you're doing this for, your future self, your loved ones, your potential customers, the world, you'll find strength on those lonely days. Your purpose becomes your accountability partner when no one else is around. Next is to create your support system. Just because you're physically alone doesn't mean that you can't get support. Build a virtual board of mentors. Read biographies of successful entrepreneurs or watch interviews on YouTube or videos like this. Hey, you're already here. You're doing it right now with this video. If Steve Jobs or Sarah Blakely or Elon Musk, they inspire you, let them mentor you through their stories. Join online communities or entrepreneur groups on social media. Share your goals and progress. Even a weekly check-in with one like-minded friend can keep you accountable. You'll realize that you're not truly alone on this journey. Many others have felt the exact same struggle and they made it through. So can you. Next is a positive environment. So be very careful about who and what you listen to. If certain friends only complain or doubt you, limit those conversations. Surround yourself, even if it's just online, with positivity and ambition. My own one-word credo is believe. That's what I want you to do. Believe that you're capable. Fill your ears with motivational podcasts and videos. Fill your feed with success stories. When you immerse in positivity, it's easier to stay disciplined because you have constant reminders that, yes, this is worth it. Practical steps to build unstoppable discipline. Okay, so now that we've covered mindset for tough situations, let's get into actionable steps. Here are 5 practical tips to strengthen your self-discipline starting today. Number 1, remember your why every day. Write down your reason for doing this on a sticky note and put it somewhere that you're going to see it. When you wake up, read it aloud. This keeps your purpose front and center. Why am I working so hard? Because your dream matters and people need what you're creating. Your why will kick you out of bed on days that you want to quit. Remember the quote, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." It's true. Number 2, set clear goals and micro deadlines. Don't just say, "I want to grow my business." Define it. For example, I will get 10 new customers by the end of this month, or I will finish the prototype by Friday. Break those big goals down into smaller tasks. Daily and weekly targets to give you something concrete to discipline yourself against. Use a calendar or planner to block out time for these tasks. Treat these appointments with yourself as non-negotiable meetings. When you have a clear plan, it's easier to shut out the distractions and the negative voices because you know exactly what you should be working on right now. Number 3, develop a routine and stick to it. Our brains love routine. If you work on your side hustle every night from 7 to 9 p.m., pretty soon it just becomes a habit. It's just part of your day. Same thing with morning routines. Maybe you wake up and you exercise for the first 20 minutes and then you spend 30 minutes learning some new skill for your business. Do it every day at the same time. And over time, you won't need to fight yourself to start working. It'll just feel natural. This consistency is the backbone of discipline. As one study noted, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence and success then are habits built by routine. Number 4, use accountability hacks. When it's just you, hold yourself accountable with simple tricks. So for example, tell someone your goal with a due date. The pressure of not wanting to disappoint them can keep you disciplined. You could also find an accountability partner online who checks in weekly. Here's another hack. Commit money. Tell a friend. You'll pay them $50 if you don't stick to your plan this week. You'll be amazed how disciplined you become when something real is on the line. If no partner is available to you, even keeping a daily progress journal can help. Track how you spent your time and what you achieved. Seeing it in black and white on a piece of paper can either give you a pat on the back or a much needed wake-up call. And number 5, practice self-compassion, not self-excuses. Now, this might sound counterintuitive, but discipline doesn't mean being a drill sergeant to yourself 24/7. Yes, you must push yourself, but also acknowledge that you're human. And if you slip up, maybe you overslept or you missed a target, don't spiral into negativity. Recognize it, learn from what happened, and get back on track as quickly as possible. Beating yourself up can lead to giving up. I missed one day, so now the whole week is ruined. No, that's not true. One mistake does not define you. Your overall consistency does. You are what you consistently do. So be kind to yourself, but also honest. Ask, why did I falter? How can I avoid this the next time? And then you adjust. This way you can keep a positive mindset and continually improve your discipline. Here's a little bonus tip. Celebrate your small wins. Did you stick to your schedule all week? Did you land that new client? Did you finish that prototype? Hey, high five yourself, right? Treat yourself to something small or do a little victory dance. Put on some music, sing out loud. Positive reinforcement is powerful. It makes your brain say, hey, this discipline stuff, it feels good. That will motivate you to continue. Remember, success is a series of small wins, and every day that you stay disciplined is a win. You can do this. Being tired, broke, or alone might be your reality right now, but it does not have to define your future. Every successful entrepreneur that you admire has walked through fire in one way or another. The difference is they kept walking. They maintained their discipline when it was toughest, and that made all the difference. And so now, it's your turn. Choose discipline over doubt. When you're exhausted, remind yourself that your mind is stronger than your feelings. When you're broke, remember that limitations spark creativity and that you're building a story you can one day tell with pride. When you're alone, know that you're actually part of a massive community of dreamers and doers who felt the same fear but pressed on. You have something special that the world needs, but you have to finish the race to share it. So keep showing up. Keep believing in yourself when no one else does yet. Every day that you stick to your path, you're one day closer to the breakthrough that you've been waiting for. Your future self is watching, and they're so proud you didn't give up today. So stay disciplined, keep your head up, and build something great. You've got this. Now get out there and make it happen. Believe. If you can't stay focused, you will lose momentum on your dreams. In today's world, your attention is constantly under attack. Social media pings, endless emails, and multitasking demands are constantly pulling you away from what matters. As an entrepreneur, you're juggling a million things, and it's killing your ability to concentrate on the one thing that will move your business forward. Every distraction comes with a heavy price. A University of California Irvine study found it takes about 23 minutes to refocus your attention after an interruption. Think about that. A single text or notification can waste nearly half an hour of your productive time. Multiply those interruptions across your day, and it's no surprise if you end the day feeling exhausted with little to show for it. Even worse, constant task switching can slash your productivity by up to 40%, meaning you're literally working twice as long to get the same work done. If you don't fix your focus, you risk losing deals, delaying your goals, and watching your competitors blow past you. The power of focus, lessons from great entrepreneurs. Let's look at how focus, or lack of it, played out for some of the best in the business. Steve Jobs famously saved Apple by ruthlessly narrowing the company's focus. When he returned in 1997, Apple was spread thin, making all sorts of products. Jobs cut 70% of Apple's product line, axing anything that wasn't essential. He streamlined everything down to just 4 products, 2 computers and 2 portable devices, so all the energy went into the products that would define Apple's future. That intense focus brought Apple back from the brink of bankruptcy to profitability within a year and laid the groundwork for the iMac, the iPhone, and the world-changing company that Apple is today. Jobs put it best. People think focus means saying yes to the thing you've got to focus on, but that's not what it means at all. It means saying no to the 100 other good ideas. Innovation is saying no to 1,000 things. And he's not alone. When Bill Gates and Warren Buffett were asked separately to share the single biggest key to their success, both men gave the exact same one-word answer: focus. These billionaires, known for their vastly different styles and industries, agree that relentless focus, pushing aside distractions and concentrating on your mission is what made them who they are. It's a simple but powerful lesson. Focus is a superpower in business. If Steve Jobs could rescue a failing company by focusing on less, and Gates and Buffett attribute decades of success to focus, imagine what you could accomplish if you truly harnessed your attention. But Evan, I can't just focus on one thing. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds great, but my reality is different. Let's address some of the hedges and objections that might be popping up for you. Let's start with, I have too many responsibilities. I can't just do one thing at a time. Now, as an entrepreneur, yes, you wear many hats, but that doesn't mean multitasking at every second. In fact, trying to do everything at once guarantees you do nothing well. Give each task its dedicated time slot. We'll talk about how to do that later. You'll get more done and do it better. Remember, saying no or not now to less critical tasks is how you finally say yes to your real priorities, just like Jobs did by cutting projects. Here's another one. I need to be on social media or email 24/7 for my business. Do you though? If you're constantly reacting to DMs and comments, you're letting other people's agendas dictate your day. The truth is, most things can wait a couple hours. Your customers or team won't all vanish if you don't respond in 5 minutes. Setting boundaries on your digital communications isn't neglect, it's smart management. I'll discuss some strategies soon, like how to do scheduled check-in times so you stay present online without letting it destroy your focus. Here's another one. I'm just naturally bad at focusing. My mind wanders. The ability to focus isn't a born trait, it's a skill that you train. Every entrepreneur can build stronger focus muscles. Yes, some people have ADHD or creative brains that leap around, but even those minds can learn structure. In fact, they thrive with the right systems. So don't label yourself as unfocused and just leave it at that. You can improve your attention span just like you can strengthen a weak bicep with training. Next, hustle culture says sleep is optional. I'll sleep when I'm rich. This is a dangerous myth. Burning the midnight oil night after night feels productive, but science shows lack of sleep wrecks your focus and decision making. Staying awake for 17 hours straight impairs you as much as having a blood alcohol level of 0.05%, effectively making you legally drunk in terms of your alertness. Do you really think you'll build a great business in that state? We'll get into why sleep is a non-negotiable for peak focus and how even Elon Musk manages to get about 6 hours a night while running multiple companies. Next, people say, if I focus on one thing, I'll miss other opportunities. This is the classic shiny object syndrome that plagues so many entrepreneurs. Yes, new opportunities are tempting. Entrepreneurs are idea machines by nature, but chasing every shiny idea that comes along is a recipe for mediocrity. As one analysis found, 65% of failed startup founders said they lost focus by pursuing too many opportunities. Focus doesn't mean you never pivot or ignore market changes. It means you choose your shots wisely and don't split your energy 10 ways at once. Remember, opportunities are endless, but time and attention are finite. The most successful entrepreneurs commit to a direction long enough to see real results rather than constantly switching course. All right, now that we've tackled some of those objections, you should be on board that improving your focus is both possible and essential. So how do you do it? Let's dive into some of the practical, actionable strategies to reclaim your attention and keep it laser focused on your goals. I'm going to touch on a bunch of areas from managing your digital distractions and your brain's dopamine to sharpening your purpose, taking care of your health, and building systems that make focus your default mode. So get ready for a blend of science-backed insights and real-world tactics you can start using today. Number one, digital distractions. Take control of your attention. In our digital age, distraction is the default. If you do nothing, your phone and computer will happily eat your entire day. So you have to actively take back control. Here's why and how. So here's the problem. Your smartphone is basically a slot machine in your pocket, dinging and buzzing to grab your attention. The average person now spends over 4.5 hours on their phone each day, picking it up 58 times a day on average. And over half of those phone checks happen during work hours. Each check might only be a minute or two, but it breaks your focus. And remember, it takes 23 minutes to refocus after even a quick distraction. No wonder you get to the end of the day wondering, where did the time go? when it was sliced and diced by dozens of pings and scrolls. Multitasking on digital devices, which is bouncing between email and social apps and work, also jacks up your stress level and overloads your brain. Roughly 40% of adults admit to constantly multitasking with their digital devices, which correlates with higher stress and lower productivity. Our brains just aren't wired to context switch this much without paying a price. And it's not just about time wasted. Digital distractions actually rewire your brain to be less capable of deep focus. Each notification gives that little hit of dopamine, that feel-good chemical, teaching your brain to crave novelty and instant gratification over sustained effort. Stanford addiction expert Dr. Anna Lemke describes the smartphone as the modern-day hypodermic needle, delivering digital dopamine for a wired generation. Think about that. Your phone is literally giving your brain tiny dopamine shots like a drug. It feels pleasurable in the moment, but it leaves you addicted to quick hits of entertainment or social validation. Over time, you get conditioned to seek constant stimulation, and boring, important tasks like writing your business plan or analyzing your customer feedback can't compete with the flashy rewards on your screen. As a result, your attention span shortens and doing deep work becomes harder. But you don't have to accept this. You are the boss of your phone, not the other way around. It's time to put the gadgets in their place. Here's how you can do it. Number 1, turn off non-essential notifications. Do you really need your phone blaring every time someone likes an Instagram picture or you get a random email that hits your inbox? Probably not. Go into your settings and disable notifications for everything that isn't truly urgent, which is most things. You can keep phone calls or maybe critical texts on and silence the rest. This way you decide when to check instead of being pulled at every whim. Next, use do not disturb and focus modes. Schedule do not disturb mode during your high focus work blocks. Many entrepreneurs swear by working in the early morning for a reason. Fewer distractions. If morning isn't your jam, at least carve out a couple of hour-long blocks in your day where you close email, put your phone on DND, and focus single-mindedly on one task. Think of it like going into airplane mode, but for your brain. Next, try website blockers or productivity apps. If willpower isn't enough to keep you from wandering to distracting sites, use a tool to help. Apps like Freedom or Cold Turkey or even built-in screen time controls can block social media, news, and other time-sync websites during work hours. This removes the temptation so you don't have to constantly wrestle with it. It's way easier to avoid eating junk food if you don't keep chips in a house. Same idea with digital junk. Next, batch your email and social checks. Instead of reacting in real time all day, set specific times for communication. So for example, commit to checking email only at 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. and social media maybe once in the afternoon. Outside those windows, close those tabs. You can even mention in your email signature or auto reply that you only respond at set times so people know what to expect. This might feel uncomfortable at first, but you'll quickly realize that most things can wait a few hours. Batching will instantly free up mental space and time. Next, environment design. Remove the easy buttons for distraction. That might mean keeping your phone in another room when you need to concentrate, or logging out of Facebook on your computer so it's not just one click away. If you constantly grab your phone out of habit, try leaving it in your bag, a drawer, or somewhere you can't mindlessly reach. Out of sight, out of mind works. The goal is not zero technology. It's making sure you decide when to use it for your benefit rather than letting it control you. By reducing these digital distractions, you'll instantly notice you can work longer on a task with more concentration and actually enter that flow state where real progress happens. Remember, every time you protect your focus, you're saving literally hours of lost time and keeping your stress down. Take back control one notification at a time. Number 2, find clarity of purpose, your focus North Star. Ever notice how it's easier to focus on something when you really care about it? Like you can play a complex video game for 4 hours straight or spend an entire day thinking on a passion project without losing concentration. But when a task feels pointless or you're not sure why it matters, your mind starts to jump to anything else. This is why lack of clarity and purpose is a silent focus killer. If you don't have a clear target you're aiming for, your brain will drift aimlessly. So here's the science of purpose. Studies show that people with a clear sense of purpose are far more productive and less prone to distraction. When you know why you're doing something, it's easier to resist the unrelated temptations. You can quickly dismiss the trivial stuff because your mind says, I have more important fish to fry. On the flip side, if your goals are fuzzy, everything can seem equally urgent or interesting. You'll hop between tasks or fall into procrastination because there's no guiding priority. In short, clarity sharpens focus like a lens concentrating sunlight. For entrepreneurs, clarity of purpose operates on two key levels. Big picture purpose, that's your company's mission or your personal why, and then day-to-day clarity. These are your specific goals and priorities for the week or for your day. You need both. Here's how to cultivate them. Start with defining your why and your vision. Take the time to articulate why your business exists beyond just making money. What change do you want to see in your customers or the world? What drives you to do this? It might be to provide financial freedom for your family, or to disrupt an industry that you are passionate about, or to help a certain group of people succeed. There's no right answer except one that genuinely fires you up. Write it down and keep it where you can see it. When you have a strong purpose, it becomes easier to focus because you have an emotional anchor. You're not just slogging through tasks, you're building towards a vision that matters to you. Next, set clear goals, yearly, monthly, weekly, daily. Clarity of purpose isn't just about a lofty vision, it translates into concrete goals. Break your big vision into specific, measurable goals. For example, this year, I want to achieve $500,000 in sales or launch version 2.0 of our app by Q4. Then break that into monthly targets and weekly tasks. Each day when you start work, identify the top 1 to 3 things that are most important to accomplish that day. This is often called MITS, most important task. If you define what winning the day looks like, you're less likely to get pulled off track by random stuff. It's like having a map. Without it, you wander everywhere. With it, you can plot a direct course. Next, use your purpose as a filter. When new opportunities or new ideas come, and they will come, especially for entrepreneurs, run them through your purpose and goals. Ask yourself, does this move me closer to my main goal or distract me from it? Be brutally honest. If an opportunity doesn't align with your core mission or would pull focus from what is currently mission critical for you, consider saying no or not now. As Jobs said, focus is about saying no to good ideas that aren't great for you right now. Having a clear purpose makes those decisions easier because you can more clearly see which path aligns and which is a detour. Next, remind yourself daily. In the chaos of entrepreneurship, it's easy to forget your mission amongst all the fires that you're putting out. So build in reminders. Read your vision statement each morning. Visualize a successful outcome that you're working towards. Some entrepreneurs stick a Post-it note on their computer with their number one goal or use it as their phone wallpaper. These cues keep your why in sight. When you're more connected to why you're working, it's much easier to stay engaged with the work. Clarity of purpose is your North Star. It keeps you oriented when all these shiny objects and distractions try to lead you astray. When you care deeply about what you're doing and why you're doing it, you'll find it much easier to concentrate. Your brain sees the significance and thus is willing to stay on task longer. If you've been feeling unfocused, ask yourself if you're truly clear on your goals. The issue might not be that you're lazy or scatterbrained, but simply a lack of clear direction. Fix your aim and your mind will follow. Number 3, prioritize sleep and brain health. It's the foundation of focus. You can develop every productivity trick in the book, but if your brain is running on fumes, you're never going to achieve peak focus. Focus is a biological activity as much as a mental one. It's your brain's prefrontal cortex holding attention, your neurons firing in sync, and your brain simply cannot operate at its best when it's sleep deprived or it's stressed or physically unhealthy. Sleep is the ultimate performance enhancer and deprivation the ultimate killer. Far too many entrepreneurs treat sleep as a luxury or a necessary sacrifice. In reality, it's the bedrock of cognitive function. Skimping on sleep is like stealing time from your future self. You borrow a few extra hours today, but you pay back double in lost productivity and focus tomorrow. As mentioned, going 17 to 18 hours without sleep impairs you similar to a 0.05% blood alcohol level. Push that to 24 hours and it's more like 0.1%. You're legally drunk. More than 35% of Americans routinely get less than 7 hours sleep, which is the minimum recommended, which means a third of us are walking around in a chronically impaired state of mind. Lack of sleep crushes attention, working memory, and executive function, basically all the ingredients of focus. You ever notice how on a bad night's sleep, you can't remember details, you get irritable, and even small tasks feel overwhelming? That's the cost. So step number 1 is protect your sleep like your business depends on it, because it does. Here are some tips to improve your sleep and overall brain health. Start with setting a non-negotiable sleep schedule. Figure out how much sleep makes you feel truly refreshed. For most adults, it's 7 to 8 hours. Then count backwards from when you need to wake up and set a bedtime. Yes, a bedtime. Just like when you were a kid. Stick to it as much as possible, including weekends. Having a consistent sleep and wake time trains your body's internal clock so you fall asleep faster and get deeper rest. Treat this like an important meeting with yourself. After a while, you'll start to love that routine. Next, create a pre-sleep wind down. If you're working on your startup until midnight, then immediately trying to sleep, your brain is still in 5th gear. Have a 30 to 60 wind down routine. Dim the lights, put away the screens. The blue light from devices tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime. Maybe read something light or do some deep breathing. This sends a signal to your brain that it's safe to power down. Many successful founders swear by reading fiction at night or journaling to offload thoughts so they don't ruminate endlessly in bed. Next, exercise regularly for your mind, not just for your body. Physical exercise has massive benefits for brain health and focus. It increases blood flow to the brain and boosts the growth of new brain cells. Even a brisk 20-minute walk can improve your mood and attention. You don't need to be a triathlete, but build some movement into your week. It could be hitting the gym, doing yoga, or just daily walks. Think of it as brain maintenance. Plus, exercise improves sleep quality, so it's a double win for you. Next, mind your nutrition and hydration. A brain that's dehydrated or starved of key nutrients is a sluggish brain. Stay hydrated. Even mild dehydration can impair cognitive performance. And try to avoid the classic entrepreneur diet of coffee and junk food all day. You don't have to be perfect, but fueling yourself with protein, healthy fats, and complex carbs will give you more sustained energy. Omega-3s, found in fish, walnuts, etc., are great for brain health. Limit the ultra-sugary snacks that spike and crash your energy. Next, take short breaks to recharge, not to distract. Our brains aren't machines that can concentrate non-stop. In fact, taking a 5 to 10 minute break every hour or two can boost your overall focus. But the type of break matters. Scrolling on Twitter is not a real break. It bombards you with new information and dopamine hits. Instead, do something that truly rests your mind. Walk around, stretch, look out the window, drink some water, or close your eyes and breathe. Think of these as pit stops to refuel your mental energy. When you return, your focus will be better. As an entrepreneur, your brain is your number one asset. Treating it well isn't a nice to have. It's essential to performance at the level that you need. If you're regularly sacrificing sleep, skipping exercise, or stressing yourself to the brink, you are robbing yourself of focus and creativity. High performers in business increasingly treat themselves like elite athletes because they are, in the cognitive sense. So get serious about your sleep and health regimen. It's the unfair advantage that most people ignore. A well-rested, well-nourished brain can solve in 1 hour what an exhausted brain might struggle with for 3 hours. Take care of your brain and it will take care of your business. Number 4, master your dopamine. Train your brain for deep focus. So I touched on dopamine earlier, but let's dive deeper because this little neurotransmitter plays an outsized role in why you can't stay focused. Dopamine is essentially the brain's reward chemical. It spikes when we encounter something that is new, exciting, or pleasurable. Whether that's scoring a big client, that's a huge dopamine hit, or seeing a notification that someone liked your post, that's a little dopamine hit. The modern world is full of artificial dopamine triggers, and while dopamine itself isn't bad, it's vital for motivation and learning. Too much of the quick hit dopamine can put your brain in a state of constant craving and distraction. Here's how it works. There are 2 types of dopamine release. Phasic, which is bursts in response to immediate rewards and novelty, and tonic, the steady background level that helps you feel satisfied. We want a nice balance. But what's happening now? We're overstimulated by phasic dopamine spikes all day long. Every ping, every new tweet, every funny video gives a tiny jolt. It feels good for a second, then it drops, and your brain says, hey, that was nice, let's get another hit. Over time, this over-reliance on constant stimulation undermines our ability to sustain deep focus. We become like addicts seeking the next reward rather than being able to settle into a task that doesn't have instant gratification. In fact, when your brain is trained on high-frequency dopamine hits, doing something slow and effortful like writing your business strategy, your coding, your book, making YouTube videos, studying market research, it feels boring. You might start doing it, but then your brain goes, this is hard. Let's check if we got any new emails. That would be way more fun. This is literally a neurochemical issue, not just a character flaw. As one neuroscience writer puts it, excessive novelty seeking weakens our cognitive endurance, training the brain to seek constant stimulation rather than deep focus. It's like we've shortened our attention muscle by always handing it quick fixes instead of encouraging it to stretch. So how do we fix this? We have to detox and retrain our dopamine system so that we can enjoy and stick with more meaningful, long-term rewards. Some strategies to consider. Start with cutting back on the quick hits. This ties back to digital distractions, reducing social media, unnecessary notifications, mindless web browsing, and so on. The fewer bling dopamine triggers you get in the day, the more your brain can settle. Some people find it helpful to do an actual dopamine detox day or weekend. No social media, no internet rabbit holes, maybe no phone at all, and engage in offline, low stimulation activities like reading, going out in nature, journaling. This can reset your baseline a bit. It's like recalibrating your taste buds by eating simple food so that fruits taste sweet again. Similarly, when you return, you'll find a bit more tolerance for slow, focused work because your brain isn't saturated with cheap thrills. Next, schedule your dopamine. Completely eliminating all fun and novelty isn't sustainable or desirable. Instead, schedule controlled breaks for enjoyable activities. Maybe you work for 90 minutes, then give yourself 15 minutes to watch a few funny YouTube videos or check your favorite social app. But set a timer. This way you still get some reward, but it's deliberate. Over time, try to choose lower stimulation rewards like going for a walk outside. You get dopamine from nature and movement, chatting with a friend, or a quick game that isn't too time consuming. The key is to avoid the infinite scroll or endless autoplay that hijacks your brain beyond the planned time. Next, use dopamine to your advantage for focus. You can actually hack this chemical for good. For example, break your work into smaller milestones and celebrate each win. Our brains love a sense of progress. So if you have to write a 20-page report, set a goal like finish 2 pages and then acknowledge the achievement. Even give yourself a small reward, like a piece of chocolate. Stand up, do a victory stretch, etc. It sounds silly, but these little rewards release dopamine that reinforces the focused work that you just did. Gamify your important but maybe tedious tasks. Give yourself points or check marks for each little chunk that you complete. This injects a bit of immediate satisfaction into long-term projects. Next, engage in activities that increase baseline dopamine naturally. Exercise is one. It releases dopamine and serotonin. Meditation is another. It can raise your baseline focus and contentment levels over time. Also, make sure that you're not deficient in things like sleep, again, or certain nutrients, as those can really affect your dopamine regulation. There are also supplements and foods like tyrosine found in almonds and avocado that support dopamine, but be cautious and perhaps speak with a doctor before trying supplements. The goal is a healthy, balanced brain chemistry. Next, embrace boredom gradually. This one's tough, but try to build your tolerance for doing nothing. When you have a minute of downtime, like you're waiting in line, resist pulling out the phone. Let yourself be bored for a bit. Boredom is the precursor to creativity and focus. It means your brain is not being overstimulated. At first, it might feel restless, but you're teaching your mind that it doesn't need constant entertainment. This translates to better focus when you choose to work on something because your brain isn't always expecting a dopamine snack every other minute. Managing dopamine is about self-discipline and self-awareness. It's noticing the urge to seek a quick distraction and choosing to delay or deny it in service of a bigger goal. It's not easy. You're literally fighting millions of years of evolutionary wiring that says, seek new rewards, but you can gradually shift the balance. Many entrepreneurs find that after a period of cutting back stimulation, they not only focus better, but they also regain the ability to feel joy from simpler things and deeper work. That report or coding session starts to feel oddly satisfying because you're fully engaged and not somewhere else mentally. That's a great sign that your dopamine is working for you, not against you. Number 5, use tools and systems to make focus easier. Willpower is great, But why rely on willpower alone when you can build systems that naturally promote focus? Think of this as engineering your work and life setup so that staying focused is the path of least resistance. Successful entrepreneurs are often obsessive about their time management systems, not because it's fun to be rigid, but because it frees them to concentrate on what matters. Here are some proven tools and systems for turbocharging your focus. Start with time blocking your schedule. This is a technique that I love where you divide your day into blocks of time and assign tasks or themes to each block. For example, 9 to 11 a.m. for writing, 11 to 11:30 email, 1 to 3 p.m. meeting, 3 to 4:30 project work, etc. Even Elon Musk has been reported to schedule his day in 5-minute blocks when running multiple companies. The idea isn't to fill every minute, but to plan your focus. When you time block, you sit down at 9 a.m. already knowing what to work on. No floundering or deciding. This clarity prevents a lot of distraction because you've given yourself a clear directive. During that block, only that task exists. If other thoughts or to-dos pop up, you note them for later in that appropriate block and return to the task at hand. It's like creating appointments with your most important work. Start by blocking out just a few hours a day for your top priorities and see how it massively improves your focus. Next, the Pomodoro technique. This is a popular method where you use a timer to work in short bursts, traditionally 25-minute work, 5-minute break, and then repeat. Each 25-minute session is called a Pomodoro. After 4 Pomodoros, you take a longer break. This works because it gamifies your focus. You know you only have to concentrate for a defined period, which makes it easier to start, and the ticking timer creates a sense of urgency. If 25 minutes feels too short or long, you can adjust the time. Many people use 15-minute focus, 10-minute breaks, etc. The key is the cycle of focus and rest. It trains you to get in the zone quickly and also gives your brain regular breathers. There are tons of apps and kitchen timers that can help you with this. Over time, you may find you don't need to rigidly time yourself, but it's a great training wheel for building focus stamina. Next, habit stacking and routines. If you struggle to stick to focusing, try habit stacking. This means attaching a new habit, like a morning focus routine, onto an existing habit. For example, every day, right after you have your coffee, you might immediately spend 30 minutes planning your priorities. Or right after lunch, you do a 10-minute mindfulness or breathing exercise to reset, then dive into the hardest task of the afternoon. By linking focus habits to things you already do, they'll stick more easily. Also, create rituals that signal work mode to your brain. Maybe always play a certain instrumental music playlist when you need to concentrate. Eventually, just hearing that music puts you into focus mode. Or have a specific location for deep work, like a certain chair or going to the library or a cafe. These cues help you slip into focus mode faster. Next, task management and offloading mind clutter. Often it's hard to focus because your brain is juggling all the other things you need to do or remember. Implement a reliable task management system. It could be an app like Trello, Asana, Todoist, or just a simple good old notebook or whiteboard. The key is to have one place where all your to-dos, ideas, and reminders live. When you think of something unrelated while working, don't keep it in your head. Dump it into your task list or a sticky note. Your brain then relaxes knowing that it won't forget it and you can get back to the current task at hand. Review and organize your task list daily or weekly so you always know what's on your plate. This way, you won't constantly worry, did I forget something? While you're trying to focus. Next, the 2-minute rule and single handling. Productivity guru David Allen of GDT fame suggests if something will take less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. This prevents tiny tasks from accumulating and nagging at you. Conversely, for bigger tasks, practice single handling. Once you start it, try to see it through or to a logical checkpoint before touching something else. Switching tasks midway forces you to refamiliarize yourself later, doubling the effort. For example, if you need to reply to 5 important emails, do them all in one block rather than scattering them out throughout the day. Group similar tasks, phone calls, emails, coding, writing, so your brain stays in one mode longer. This reduces the cognitive switching cost. Next, leverage calendars and time tracking. Use your calendar not just for meetings, but for your own work. Block those focus times as if they were meetings. You can even mark them busy so others can't snag the time. If you have a team, communicate your planned focus hours so they know when not to disturb you. Some teams use a simple green or red flag status to indicate deep work versus available. Additionally, consider tracking your time for a week or two just to see where your time actually goes. You might be shocked by how much goes to low value activities. Tracking makes you more aware and helps you adjust. The goal is to align your time spent with your true priorities. Focus follows priorities. Building these systems might sound like a lot of work, but think of it as setting up your environment for success. Athletes have coaches, meal plans, training schedules, all systems so they can perform on game day. For you, game day is every day in your business, so give yourself the support of a system. These tools actually reduce decision fatigue and mental load. Instead of constantly thinking, what should I do next? Or maybe I should be doing X. You trust your system. You look at your time block calendar or your task list and you just follow it. Ironically, structure creates freedom. The freedom to fully focus on the task at hand because you know everything else is handled or has its place. Experiment and find the mix of tools that works for you. The right system is the one you'll actually use consistently. Number 6, overcoming overwhelm. Prioritize and simplify. One big reason you can't stay focused is that sinking feeling of overwhelm. As an entrepreneur, you likely have a never-ending to-do list. When you sit down to work, 20 different tasks and problems swarm your mind. It's paralyzing. You don't know where to start, so you end up doing nothing productive, except maybe shuffling a few papers or checking some news. Overwhelm is the enemy of focus because it triggers stress. And when you're stressed, your brain's ability to concentrate plummets. In fact, a recent study of small business owners found 75% are concerned about their mental health, and more than half have been clinically diagnosed with anxiety or depression related to stress. That's a lot of overwhelmed entrepreneurs. If you feel this way, you're definitely not alone, but you must tackle it head on, both for your business and for your well-being. Here's how to reduce overwhelm and regain control. Start with a brain dump and prioritize. So start each day or end the previous day by doing a brain dump of everything on your mind that you need to do. Get it out of your head and onto paper or a digital list. Already this relieves your mental pressure. Then prioritize ruthlessly. Not all tasks are equal. Use a method like Eisenhower's matrix, which is urgent versus important, or simply mark each item A, B, C priority. Identify your top 2 to 3 tasks that will make the biggest impact. Those are your focus items. Often the act of prioritizing shows you that many tasks can be scheduled later, delegated, or even dropped. Focus is about doing first things first. When you know you're working on the most important thing at any given moment, the nagging worry about everything else quiets down. Next, break it down. Overwhelm often happens because we look at huge projects or goals and we feel lost. The trick is to break big tasks into bite-sized actions. Don't write launch new website on your list. That is a project with 50 steps. Instead, list the next actions. Call the designer to discuss the layout, draft the About Us page copy, etc. Small steps are doable and gives you a sense of progress which motivates you to continue. Celebrate crossing them off. Each tiny victory gives you momentum. Remember, yard by yard is hard, inch by inch is a cinch. Next, delegate and outsource. Ask yourself, do you personally need to do all of these tasks? Entrepreneurs often wear all the hats initially, but to grow and stay sane, you need to offload things. Can you delegate some tasks to a team member, a freelancer, or an assistant, even a virtual assistant, even just for a few hours a week? This could range from administrative work, social media posting, to personal errands. Freeing up even a couple hours a week of busy work can be huge for your focus on high-value activities. Plus, when you delegate, you psychologically commit to focusing on higher-level tasks since someone else is handling the other stuff for you. Now, if your budget is tight, consider trading tasks with a peer or using automation tools for repetitive tasks like email filters and macros and marketing automation. Next, learn to say no, or at least not now. Overwhelm often grows because we keep saying yes to new ideas, to other people's requests, to every networking opportunity, and so on. Value your focus and time enough to guard it. It's better to do a few things well than many things poorly. When you're asked to take on something that isn't aligned with your current priorities, it's okay to say no. Or if it's a genuinely good opportunity but bad timing, ask if you can revisit it in a few months. People will respect you for being focused. And if they don't, you probably shouldn't be working with them. Remember, every yes is implicitly a no to something else, like your existing commitments or personal time. Flip it and decide consciously what you will say no to so that your yeses are truly meaningful. Next, Practice stress management. Even with perfect planning, entrepreneurship is stressful. How you manage that stress determines whether it derails your focus or fuels your growth. Find techniques that help you stay calm under fire. Now, this could be meditation, prayer, exercise, journaling, talking to a mentor, seeing a therapist, or even hobbies that take your mind off of work for a bit, like salsa dancing. When you feel your overwhelm rising, your heart's pounding, your mind is racing, step away and use one of these techniques to reset. A 10-minute walk outside or a short meditation can clear the fog of overwhelm and let you return with a clear head. Make stress relief a routine, not just an emergency feature. For example, a daily meditation practice can significantly lower your baseline anxiety over time, making you more resilient when things pile up. Next, keep the big picture in mind. Sometimes overwhelm tricks us into treating everything as a crisis. But zoom out. Will this thing you're freaking out about matter in 5 years, 5 months? Often the answer is no. Maintaining a long-term perspective can help you let go of perfectionism and minor details. Focus on high-impact, long-term results and be okay with deferring or even dismissing lesser things. Give yourself permission that you won't do everything, but you will do the most important things. Overwhelm is like a fog that can cloud even the sharpest minds. But by organizing your tasks, setting boundaries, and taking care of your mental state, you can cut through that fog. When you proactively manage overwhelm, you don't just become more focused, you become a happier, more creative, more productive entrepreneur. Your brain has a breathing room to think strategically and innovatively instead of drowning in details. Simplify, prioritize, and watch your productivity and focus soar. Number 7, the Entrepreneur's Focus Challenge: shiny objects and moving parts. Entrepreneurs face a special set of focus challenges. You're not working a repetitive jobs with a defined set of tasks. You're creating something new. So you're wearing the CEO, CFO, CMO, and all the intern hats all at once. Your to-do list regenerates like a hydra. Cut off one head and 2 more pop up. Plus, entrepreneurs are typically idea people, so your strength is creativity and vision. But the flip side is chasing too many ideas all at once. One of the biggest threats to entrepreneur focus is shiny object syndrome. This is when you get overly excited by the next new idea, the next new tool or opportunity, and abandon or dilute your current efforts. It feels like progress. We're also going to launch a podcast and target a new customer segment, and we're going to redesign the product from scratch. But often it's distraction in disguise. As I said earlier, a huge percentage of failed startups pointed to loss of focus as a contributor to their failure. Focus requires discipline, especially when you're your own boss. There's no manager telling you not to pursue idea number 37. You have to manage yourself. Here's how to handle the unique focus challenges of being an entrepreneur. Let's start with limiting your goals per quarter or year. It's fine to have many ideas, but you can't execute them all at once. Try setting just 1 to 3 key goals per quarter for your business. So for example, improve your website conversion rate by 20%, or launch your product in a new market X, or reach 50K in MRR. Make everything you do serve those limited goals. If a new idea or partnership opportunity comes up, see if it clearly advances one of those goals. If not, park it in an idea bank for later. Trust that you'll get to those ideas in time once you nail your current objectives. This approach is often called OKRs. It helps companies stay on track. Success is sequential, not simultaneous. Do first things first, then move on. Next, adopt a not now list. Create a list specifically for good ideas that you choose not to act on immediately. This tricks your brain. You're not deleting the idea, which feels bad. You're saving it for the future, which feels responsible. You can even schedule a quarterly review of the not now list to see if any should be activated for the next quarter. You'll find most lose their luster and some will still shine. Those are the ones perhaps worth doing. By deferring shiny objects instead of grabbing them immediately, you protect your inner focus and still honor your creativity. Next, focus on your core competency. This is your core focus. Business coach Jim Collins talks about the hedgehog concept. Find what you can be best in the world at, that's your unique strength, and devote yourself to that. The EOS, the Entrepreneur Operating System, calls it your core focus, your purpose, your cause, your passion, your niche. The idea is to know your lane and stick to it. As an entrepreneur, it's tempting to branch out into every area you think you can make money. But the jacks of all trades often become master of none. Look at great companies. They often win by focusing on the clear niche before expanding. Amazon did books first. Facebook did colleges first. If you're spreading yourself across 5 different business models or target audience at once, you're likely diffusing your impact. Pick a lane, Get traction, then expand deliberately. This focus will also make day-to-day decisions much easier because they either fit into your core focus or they don't. Next, manage information overload. Entrepreneurs need to learn a lot and stay on top of industry trends, but this can turn into consuming content all day and never executing. Be careful of drowning in podcasts, books, courses, and advice from every direction. Schedule specific times for learning and limit the sources to a few trusted ones. Like this channel. Just-in-time learning is key. Learn what you need for the task at hand. For example, if you're not fundraising yet, do you need to watch 10 videos on how to pitch venture capitalists? Probably not yet. Curate your inputs to avoid analysis paralysis and information fatigue. Next, build a support network or team. You might be a solo entrepreneur, but you shouldn't have to be on this journey alone. Having mentors, advisors, or entrepreneur peers to talk to can help you stay accountable and focused. They can call you out, kindly, hopefully, when you seem scattered. If you have a co-founder or team, make focus a part of your culture. Regularly discuss, what are we doing that's off mission, and be willing to pivot back. Sometimes an outside perspective can help you refocus when you're in the weeds. Next, embrace processes as you grow. Early on, you're improvising a lot, but as your business grows, chaotic focus doesn't scale. Start documenting simple processes for routine things. This reduces mental load and errors. It could be as basic as a checklist for publishing a blog article or a standard way that you handle customer support. Systems free your brain from rethinking steps so you can use that juice for creative and strategic focus instead. Finally, recognize that focus doesn't mean rigidity or lack of innovation. It means channeling your creativity in a directed way. Think of it like a laser. It's just focused light and is powerful enough to cut steel versus a light bulb which casts light everywhere but can't cut a thing. Be the laser. You can still brainstorm and iterate, just do that within guardrails that keep you pointed at your ultimate vision. Remember, being an entrepreneur is a marathon, not a sprint. Focus is your force multiplier. So we've covered a lot in this video, from conquering digital distractions, clarifying your purpose, getting your brain into peak state, mastering your dopamine, using tools and systems, overcoming your overwhelm, and all of that to navigate the unique temptations that entrepreneurs face. It might feel a bit overwhelming. I get the irony, but it boils down to this. Focus is the force multiplier that will make everything you do more effective. When you truly focus, you can accomplish in 1 hour what might otherwise take a day. You make better decisions because you're fully present. You find deeper insights because your mind isn't constantly scattered. You finish what you start, and critically, you feel more fulfilled because you're actually making progress on the things that matter most to you instead of spinning your wheels. Imagine two versions of you. One constantly distracted, juggling 5 tasks, checking the phone every 10 minutes, running on 4 hours of sleep, trying to chase 10 goals at once. That version of you is busy but not very productive and likely very stressed out. Now imagine the focused you. You start the day knowing exactly what your top priority is. You shut off distractions and you dive in. You say no to the random time wasters. You take care of your body and your mind so you have energy. You single task and see things through. By the end of the day, you've knocked out important work, you've moved the needle on your business, and you still have time to rest because you weren't busy being busy. Which version of you is going to build the better business in life? Yes, developing this level of focus takes practice and commitment. I might even feel uncomfortable at first. We live in a society that almost fears being alone with our thoughts or just doing one thing. But stick with it. Start with 1 or 2 changes from this video. Maybe tonight you commit to 7 hours sleep, or tomorrow morning you block 2 hours for deep work with no phone. Maybe you uninstall that one app that's your kryptonite. Maybe you finally write down a clear goal for the next month. Each of these actions is you taking back control of your focus. And here's the beautiful part. Focus gets easier the more you do it. It's a virtuous cycle. The more you experience true focused work, the more you'll crave it because of how rewarding it is. You'll start to see results, maybe a completed project, a surge in productivity, a calmer mind, and that positive outcome will motivate you to focus even more. You'll wonder how you ever tolerated the frantic, fragmented way you used to work. Successful entrepreneurs aren't successful because they never get distracted or they never have any doubts. They're successful because when it counts, they know how to lock in on what matters and tune out the noise. They design their life in a way that supports that focus. You can do the same. You have the power to control where your mind goes, one decision at a time. So the next time you catch yourself drifting or procrastinating or chasing a squirrel, don't beat yourself up. Just gently but firmly steer back. Remember the tools and strategies that we discussed in this video. Protect your attention like the precious resource that it is, because your attention, consistently applied, is the difference between dreams staying dreams and dreams becoming reality. You've got big goals, big visions. The only way to reach them is through sustained focus. Eliminate the distractions, strengthen your purpose, take care of your brain, and build the habits that keep you on track. Do this, and you become unstoppable. So now it's your turn. The world today might be designed to break your focus, but now you are armed to defeat that. Take a stand for your dreams by taking control of your focus. It's not easy, but it's simple. Choose what matters and give it your undivided attention. Keep practicing, keep improving, and you'll be amazed at the momentum that you build. I promise you, everything will change when you master this skill. Your business will grow, your stress will drop, and your confidence will soar because you'll know that you are in charge of your destiny, not your phone, not your inbox, not the 1,000 trivial things trying to steal your time. Stay focused, you can do this, and as always, believe.
Motivation is overrated. Momentum beats motivation every single time. We are told to find your motivation before taking action, but if you keep waiting for some lightning bolt of inspiration to strike, you'll waste days, months, even years, and nothing will change. You'll watch your goals slip further away as you sit there hoping to feel ready. Remember the famous fable of the tortoise and the hare? The speedy hare bursts out full of energy and confidence while the tortoise plods along slowly and steadily. The hare's initial motivation fades. He gets lazy, takes a nap, loses momentum. Meanwhile, the tortoise just keeps moving forward without stopping. And who wins? The slow, steady tortoise. Slow and steady wins the race. In other words, consistent momentum beats spurts of motivation. I learned this firsthand in my own life. I'm an introvert who actually hates being on camera. And every Thursday morning, I wake up nervous for the day ahead. Thursday is my day for public interviews and podcasts, and basically an introvert's nightmare. Every bone in my body wants to cancel and hide, but I committed to it, so I show up even without motivation. And you know what? Once I get started, it's amazing. Every single time, 5 minutes in, I'm energized and in my groove, and that momentum carries me through the entire day, even when my motivation was zero at the start. Momentum makes it happen. Now you might be thinking, yeah, but what if I have no motivation to even start? How do I build momentum then? Great question. Action comes before motivation, not the other way around. Science has proven it. We often assume we need to feel inspired to act, but psychology research shows it's actually by taking action, even a tiny step, that you generate motivation. It's like pushing a car. The hardest part is getting it rolling. Once it's moving, it's easy to keep it moving. Think about a time you force yourself to start a task or hit the gym when you really didn't want to. After a few minutes, you probably found your rhythm and suddenly felt fired up to finish. You weren't motivated at the start, but once you started, you became motivated to finish. That's momentum in action. So if you're waiting for momentum first, switch it. Just start moving and the motivation will show up after you're in motion. Momentum beats motivation every time because momentum creates motivation, not the other way around. Now, let's get into how you can harness momentum to achieve your goals and why it will always outshine motivation. Let's go. All right, let's dive into why momentum beats motivation and how you can make momentum work for you. Motivation is fickle, momentum is reliable. Motivation is just a feeling, and feelings are unpredictable. Some days you might wake up pumped up, and other days you can't even open your inbox without groaning. If you only work on your goals when you feel like it, you'll spend a lot of time stuck waiting. It's like standing on a train platform hoping the train shows up without ever checking the schedule. By contrast, momentum doesn't care how you feel. Momentum isn't about mood or inspiration. It just needs you to take that first step. The moment you start moving, the motion itself becomes the motivator. Let's look at physics. An object at rest stays at rest, but an object in motion stays in motion. Once you get yourself in motion, it's so much easier to keep going. So for example, you tell yourself, you'll work for just 10 minutes, so clean one drawer or write one paragraph. Next thing you know, you've been at it for 30 to 40 minutes and made some serious progress. That's the quiet power of momentum. It often starts small and doesn't feel dramatic, but it grows quietly with each little action. So check off one task and suddenly you are on a roll. Momentum builds progress even when you're not
in the zone at first. The key here is don't wait for the perfect mood or inspiration. If your productivity depends on being in the right mood, you'll lose a ton of time waiting around. Waiting for motivation is actually one of the most expensive delays in your success. Instead, just start moving. Do something, anything small, and momentum will kick in and carry you forward. When motivation does show up, great. Ride that wave. But if it's not there, you keep going anyway with momentum. You'll find that momentum will create motivation as you go. Momentum builds confidence and identity through progress. So every tiny step forward that you make is a win that boosts your confidence and your belief. Research from Harvard Business School calls this the progress principle. Even small daily progress can significantly boost your motivation and performance. Why? Because those small wins trigger a positive spiral. You feel good about making progress, which makes you want to do even more. And those wins build trust in yourself. Each day that you show up and hit a tiny goal, you're reinforcing the identity of, I'm the kind of person who follows through. And over time, you stop being someone who wants to change and you become someone who is making that change happen. Your self-image shifts from, I hope I can do this, to I know I do this. And that is incredibly powerful. I've seen this in my own journey. When I started my YouTube channel, growth was painfully slow. Year one, I had only 25 subscribers. 5 years in, I was still a few thousand subscribers in. Most people would have looked at those numbers and said, this is failure. Why bother? In fact, most people quit way too soon. But I kept making videos because I wasn't focused on that immediate payoff. I loved the process and believed in the mission to try to help people. Most people quit too soon, and all I had going for me was I kept going. I put in the reps, video after video, and gradually momentum kicked in. My skills improved, the audience slowly built up. It took 10 years to hit 1 million subscribers, but then in the next 5 years, I grew to 4 million subscribers. Today, we're over 4 million strong. And that massive success only happened because of momentum, the result of years of consistent action, not because I had some huge burst of motivation or overnight viral hit. Quantity leads to quality over time. By showing up consistently, I got better and better, and more people found value in my content. Momentum built my confidence too. Every new video, even if it helped only 50 or 100 people, made me feel more like I'm a YouTuber on a mission and less like I'm an imposter. And each small win added up. So here's the lesson. Progress, even small, is super motivating. When you see yourself making even a tiny bit of progress each day, you feel proud and motivated to continue. If you write one page of your book today, you're a person who writes, and that builds your identity as a writer. Do it again tomorrow and the next day, and soon you believe in yourself as an author. But if you wait for big bursts of motivation, you stay stuck at page 0 and start doubting yourself. Momentum gives you proof of progress, which gives you confidence to push further. Momentum produces real results, while motivation alone just produces plans. At the end of the day, you get results from consistent action, not from thinking about action. You can be super motivated one random afternoon and write 10 pages or do an intense 4-hour workout, but one big push once in a while can't compete with small actions repeated every day. Why? Because consistency beats intensity. Momentum is like compounding interest on your goals. Those little efforts compound into huge payoffs over time. Motivation, on the other hand, is like that one-time spark. It's really bright for a moment, and then it fades. Look at any top performer. You look at your favorite athletes and musicians, entrepreneurs, artists, the most successful ones, they have routines. They practice their craft daily, often even when they don't feel like it, while everyone else works sporadically. And the result, the consistent ones improve faster and achieve more. When you show up and you deliver day after day, you outperform the people who work only when inspiration strikes. One of my favorite examples is Jerry Seinfeld. He became one of the greatest comedians, not by waiting for comedic inspiration, but by writing jokes every single day. Whether this is true or not, there's a legendary story about a famous technique he had where he'd have a big wall calendar and mark an X for every day that he wrote material. And soon after, he had a chain of X's, day after day after day of writing. His only rule was don't break the chain. It didn't matter if he was in a hilarious mood or not, or if the jokes were any good that day. He focused on not breaking that daily chain. That daily momentum created a massive volume of work and improvement in his skills. And over time, those daily jokes turned into hit routines and TV material. Momentum made Seinfeld prolific. And the same principle applies to you. If you want to get in shape, doing a modest workout every day will beat a huge workout that you do only when you feel pumped. If you want to write a book, writing 200 words every morning will beat a 5,000 word marathon that you do only when inspiration hits once in a blue moon. By being consistent, you'll actually finish the book, you'll get in shape, you'll grow your business, or whatever your goal is right now. Plus, the steady momentum can carry you through the setbacks that are going to come. When you have a routine, a bad day doesn't derail you. You get up the next day and you get back on track. Also, mastery follows consistency. You get better through repetition. There's a great quote that says, "So often we assume that excellence requires a monumental effort and incredible doses of willpower and motivation, but really all we need is dedication to small, manageable tasks. Mastery follows consistency." In other words, you don't have to make some grand heroic push. You just have to keep showing up. Tiny improvements made consistently lead to massive improvements long term. That's where real results come from. Momentum kept me going through 350 terrible videos until I started making good ones. Momentum is what will keep you going through the early rough drafts, the awkward first business pitches, the initial slow days of progress until you actually hit your stride. And once you've got momentum on your side, nothing can stop you. Now, you might be thinking, all right, I get it, momentum is key, but how do I build momentum if I have none? Let's get practical. Building momentum is not about those giant leaps. It's about taking tiny moves consistently. So here's a simple plan you can use to get momentum working in your favor. Start ridiculously small, but start today. Pick one tiny action you can do right now and every day going forward. Make it so easy you can't make an excuse not to do it. If you want to write, commit to writing for just 5 minutes a day or one sentence, something that is laughably small. If you want to get fit, start with 10 push-ups or a 5-minute walk. The key is to begin, because beginning is where momentum lives. Next, use a trigger or routine. Choose a consistent time or situation to do your tiny action. So for example, always right after you brush your teeth in the morning, you write your first sentence. Or every day at 7 a.m., you go out the door for that walk. A routine cue helps your brain associate that moment with go time. It takes the thinking out of it and makes starting more automatic. Next, track your streak. Use a visual tracker. It could be a simple calendar or habit tracking app, and mark each day you complete your tiny action. Seeing a chain of days build up is incredibly satisfying and reinforces your new identity as someone who shows up consistently. Try the Seinfeld technique. Put an X on each day you do it and aim to keep the chain going. And that little visual motivator can push you to not break the streak. Next, remove friction. Make it as easy as possible to start your task each day. Set your workout clothes the night before. Keep the guitar in the middle of the room if you're learning to play. Close the social media tabs on your computer. Fewer obstacles mean fewer excuses. Momentum loves a clear runway. So set yourself up so starting your action is effortless. These steps might sound almost too easy, but that's exactly the point. Momentum starts with small, easy wins. When you do this, you'll notice something amazing. On the days you really don't feel like it, if you at least do your tiny action, you'll often end up doing more. You'll just write one sentence and end up writing the whole page. You'll plan to do 5 minutes of exercise and end up doing 15. But even if you only do the tiny action, you've kept the momentum alive. One day's bare minimum might not feel like much, but keeping the chain unbroken is what keeps your momentum alive, and that momentum is gold. By following this approach, momentum will become a habit. You won't need to psych yourself up with big motivational speeches each day. The habit will carry you. You'll become a person who just does the thing daily, and that identity and routine will carry you farther than motivation ever could. You will never reach your potential without knowing your why. For an entrepreneur, having no purpose is like driving with no destination. You end up running in circles or off a cliff. If you keep going without a why, you'll burn out or quit as soon as things get hard, and all your dreams will slip away in regret. Simon Sinek was once lost too. Before he became famous for Start With Why, Simon had lost his passion for his work. He was depressed, unmotivated, and ready to quit. Then he discovered his own why, his purpose, and it completely transformed his life and career. That simple idea of starting with why reignited his passion. He suddenly needed to share it with everyone because he knew it could save others from the despair that he felt. Simons felt aimless and frustrated, which might be the same pressure you're feeling right now, struggling to figure out what your why is. I remember feeling that pressure in my own life. At 19, I was COO of my first startup and making $300 a month. I felt like a complete failure. I hit a breaking point and almost quit on my business. My friends and I even got job offers from big companies, and it was so tempting to walk away for a safe paycheck. I still remember sitting in my parents' house, heart pounding with fear, thinking about taking that six-figure job or giving up on my dream. But then a thought hit me. What if I'm just missing the right strategy? And in that moment of doubt, I chose action instead of escape. I studied how Bill Gates built Microsoft and realized he scaled up through partnerships. So I hustled to form a partnership for my company, and it led to a $13,500 deal, more money than I'd ever seen in my life. And that one shift in belief changed everything. I went from scared and stuck to energized and purposeful. I knew I could survive the struggle, and even more, I discovered a mission. I didn't want other entrepreneurs to suffer and quit like I almost did. And ever since, I've been on a mission to solve what I think is the world's biggest problem: people don't believe in themselves enough. That became my why, driving every video, every book, every interaction. And you might be thinking, well, that sounds great for you, Evan, but I still have no idea what my why is. What if I just don't have one? What if nothing truly inspires me? And this question actually came from one of our subscribers, Krishna, who asked, I can't seem to find my why. Help! And you might feel the same way. You've tried brainstorming, you've read the books, you've watched the videos, yet you're still unsure. But here's the truth. You do have a why. Everyone does. And if you can't see it yet, it's not because it's missing. It's because you're looking in the wrong place or expecting a lightning bolt moment that hasn't come. Don't buy into the lie that you're just a purposeless person. That mindset will only keep you stuck. Instead, let's flip this around. Not finding your why is painful, right? Good. That pain is actually a signal. It means deep down you know you're meant for more. You won't be satisfied until you uncover it. And that hunger is going to drive you forward. So instead of saying, I can't find my why, start saying, my why is out there and I'm going to actively discover it. Because the fact that you're here watching this video, asking this question, means you're on the verge of a breakthrough. And I'm going to help you get it. So now let's get practical and help you find your why. Turn your pain into purpose. Look at the hardest moments of your life, the struggles that scarred you. Inside those wounds lies power. Your purpose comes from your pain. Why? Because overcoming pain gives you a mission to help others going through the same thing. Think of Candy Lightner, the mother who lost her 13-year-old daughter to a drunk driver. In 1980, Candy faced every parent's worst nightmare, but she didn't stay crushed. She founded Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Her grief turned into a movement that has saved thousands of lives. Pain became purpose. The same pattern is true for so many changemakers. The thing that hurt you can now empower you. Instead of running from that pain, ask how you can use it. Your why is often to be the hero you never had, for someone who is now in the shoes that you once wore. When I struggled as a young entrepreneur, I felt alone and clueless, and that pain drives me now to be the resource for other entrepreneurs that I wish I had back then. Take a moment, reflect on your own life. What has hurt you deeply? Did you face bullying, loss, failure, rejection? How did you survive it? There are people out there right now who feel trapped by that same pain. They are your why. You can turn around and light the path for them. I like to say that your why stems from the most painful moment in your life, transforming your personal suffering into a mission to help others facing similar struggles. When you focus on serving others who are going through what you went through, you create a life of meaning, turning your weakest moments into your greatest strength. Identify your core values. Find your who. Your why also lives in the things that make you feel alive, the values and causes that matter most to you. Purpose starts with knowing who you are at your core. In fact, everyone has one core value that represents who they are at a deep level. And if you build your life and business around it, you'll see more success and fulfillment. So, what's yours? What is that one thing that you cannot live without? To figure it out, do a little digging into your own story and preferences. Here's a few ideas to get you started. Remember your highest highs. Think about the moments where you felt truly proud or really happy, joyful. What values were you living in those moments? Maybe it was freedom or creativity or family, impact, or something else. Those peaks, they hold clues. Next, examine your heroes. Who do you admire deeply and why? Whether it's a famous leader, a mentor, or even a movie character. What are the qualities in them that resonate with you? Because the traits that you idolize are a reflection of your core values. For example, I realized my favorite stories and movies always show an underdog believe in themselves and triumphing against all odds. My favorite movie is Seabiscuit, about an undersized racehorse that nobody believed in, which ends up winning big. That pattern revealed that my core value is belief. I love seeing people believe in themselves and win. Next, know Notice your anger. Now, this might seem odd, but think about what really upsets you, what ticks you off. When you see something unfair or wrong, what value is being violated? If broken promises or lies enrage you, honesty is likely core to you. If injustice boils your blood, maybe it's justice or equality. The injustices you hate point to the positive ideals that you cherish. The opposite of what you can't stand often highlights your core values. Once you've done some of this self-reflection, look for the common theme. Maybe every path leads to freedom or love or adventure or service. That's your one word, as I call it. When you identify that, everything else clicks. Align your mission with that core value and you'll feel an inner drive that you never felt before. You won't be torn in a million directions because you'll have a guiding star. As I often say, your core value is your rock. Lead with it in your life and business decisions and you'll start attracting the right opportunities and people who resonate with your vision. Explore and take action. Purpose is developed, not found. One big mistake is sitting around waiting for your why to just reveal itself, right? Don't wait, act. Purpose isn't a lightning bolt. It's a fire that you build step by step. And science backs this up. Stanford psychologists found that the common advice to find your passion can actually backfire. Why? If you think your passion or purpose will just appear fully formed, you might quit when things get hard or when you don't feel an instant revelation. The research shows that people with a fixed mindset about passion, believing that it's something that you discover and it should always feel easy, are more likely to give up at the first obstacle. By contrast, those who see passion as something you develop stay resilient and keep going even when there are challenges. So the advice here is literally develop your passion rather than expect to find it. So what does that mean for you? It means you need to try things. Follow your curiosity, take on new projects, even if you're not 100% sure that they're your ultimate calling. It's like dating. You might not marry the first person that catches your eye, but each experience teaches you a little bit more about what ignites you and what doesn't. Purpose comes through experimentation and engagement, not just through navel gazing and thinking. So sign up for that course that interests you. Start that side hustle that you've been daydreaming about. Volunteer for that cause that keeps pulling at your heart. Action is where theory becomes clarity. Think about the story of Howard Schultz, one of my favorite entrepreneurs, the man behind Starbucks. In 1983, Howard visited Italy and was struck by how Italians love their coffee. Not just the drink, but the community experience of a cafe. And that trip lit him up. He didn't start with a lifelong grand vision to create a global coffee chain. He found it by exploring, by experiencing something new, and following the inspiration that it gave him. Schultz's why became bringing the Italian coffeehouse culture of connection to Americans. Starbucks grew out of that spark. If he'd stayed home and not ventured outside his comfort zone, that inspiration might never have hit him. Your journey will likely be similar, so stop overthinking and start doing. You don't find your why by sitting on the couch thinking about it. You find it by getting out there and living. Try, fail, learn, try again. With each step, you pay attention to your gut. When do you feel most alive? When do you enter that state of flow or you lose track of time because you love what you're doing so much? Those are the breadcrumbs towards your why. And don't be afraid if your purpose starts as some small seed. Maybe right now your why is to just explore and learn as much as I can. Awesome, that's valid. As long as you're moving forward, you're discovering. And over time, that seed will grow into something a lot more defined. So drop the idea that your why must be something traditionally lofty or world-changing from day one. Your why doesn't have to be end world hunger, unless that generally calls to you. It might be to create experiences that bring people joy or to give my family a better life and set an example for my kids. Like those are powerful purposes too. What matters is that it matters to you and gets you out of bed with energy. And ironically, when you focus on meaning and service first, success follows. Research shows that people driven by purpose, not just profit, are more productive, resilient, and even healthier than those who aren't. In one study, employees who felt a sense of purpose at work were 4 times more likely to be engaged and also reported better well-being and loyalty. So purpose is a performance enhancer. Even beyond business, having a life purpose has been linked to longer lifespan and better health outcomes. So finding your why is one of the best investments that you can make in yourself. Now, as you start to take action, reflect on what you learned. Purpose isn't just doing a bunch of random things. It's doing things with an eye on the feedback life has given you. Maybe you volunteer at an animal shelter and realize helping animals gives you deep satisfaction. Awesome. File that insight away. Maybe your why involves compassion for the vulnerable. Or you start a YouTube channel on tech and discover you love teaching people. Maybe your why is to help educate. Keep a journal of these experiments and how you feel about them because patterns will emerge. You have to trust the process. And remember, your purpose can evolve. So don't panic if your why today is different than your why from 5 years ago. That can be normal. You're growing. The core values tend to remain, but the expression of your why can change with experience. My core value is still belief. but my why has expanded from just helping startup founders one-on-one to helping millions of entrepreneurs through my YouTube channel and my books. And the seed was the same, but the scale grew. So think of finding your why as it's an ongoing adventure, not a one-time epiphany, right? The lightning bolt moment. Having this mindset, it takes the pressure off. You don't have to get it perfect right away. You just need to commit to the journey. Align everything with your why and let money follow meaning. As you discover pieces of your why, start aligning your life and business with it. Clarity is power. Once you know your why, use it as the filter for your decisions. So say no to things that don't fit. Pour your heart into the things that do. This alignment gives you incredible energy. You'll notice that when your work supports your why, you can work long hours and still feel charged instead of drained. It's because you're fueled by your purpose, not just by willpower. On the flip side, if you spend your days on things that conflict with your why, you'll feel exhausted and empty even if you're successful on paper. Now, if you're thinking, well, my why is to make money, I want to challenge you on it because money is not a why, it's a result, it's a tool. Don't get me wrong, money is important, but chasing money for its own sake is a dead end when it comes to purpose. Research has found that once basic needs are met, greater wealth doesn't equal greater happiness and motivation. In fact, tying your identity only to money can leave you feeling empty. The entrepreneurs who stick it out through thick and thin are the ones who care about something more than money, whether it's a mission, a craft, or the people that they serve. And ironically, when you focus on that deeper mission, the money comes anyway because you deliver real value. As one business leader wisely said, make money your God and it will plague you like the devil. So use money as a tool, not the ultimate goal. Let purpose lead and profit will follow. And finally, surround yourself with reminders and supporters of your why. Once you have a sense of your purpose, reinforce it. Write it down on a single clear sentence. For example, my why is to blank. Fill in that blank with what you've discovered. It could be to inspire others to believe in themselves, right? I like that. It's a pretty good one. To create beautiful things that make people happy. To fight for those who can't fight for themselves. Whatever hits you in the gut as important. Look at that statement in the morning. Let it remind you of why you're doing what you do, especially on the tough days. Share it with close friends or mentors who can hold you accountable to it. And when opportunities come up, check them against your why. Does this move me closer to living my purpose or not? This doesn't mean that you won't do mundane tasks because every purpose has boring parts, but you'll see the through line of meaning even in the grind. Pressure creates diamonds. Remember that feeling lost and frustrated in this process is not a sign that you lack purpose. It's proof that finding your why matters deeply to you. So use that pressure as motivation. Every great entrepreneur, every world changer has grappled with doubt like you are right now. The difference is they didn't give up searching when it got uncomfortable. They pushed through the I don't know phase until the pieces started to form a picture. You are on that same path right now. So keep going. Your why becomes your identity. It's the belief about yourself that once you lock it in, will carry you through any trial. When you shift from I'm just a person running a business to I'm on a mission to your why, you tap into a new level of strength. Obstacles become tests that you're willing to face, maybe even welcome, because they prove how much your mission means to you. You move from doubt to motion to identity shift, as we set out to do. That's the real transformation, not just gaining knowledge, but becoming the person who lives with purpose. So now is the time to step into that identity. You've learned the strategies, you've felt the stories. Take this knowledge and turn it into action in your life. Your why is out there, and it's waiting for you to claim it. By showing up today, you've already taken a huge step forward. So I want to acknowledge you by having the courage to do this work. Most people never even ask the question. You did, and that says a lot about you. So keep asking, keep exploring, and don't settle until you feel that click in your soul. Because once you do find your why, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it.
And congratulations, you're one video closer to who you're meant to be. Believe. To watch 26 minutes of brutally honest business advice, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
Most of what you've been taught about success is designed to keep you safe, not to 10x your life. Over the next 3 hours, we are stripping away the theories and looking at the raw, unfiltered reality of what it takes to build something from nothing.